IT and marketing to sales and finance. We're looking for talented individuals like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait. Apply now.
If you're seeking a career with a growing company, Dana Trucking and Excavating is hiring and looking for additions to their team. Dana Trucking has a strong team culture, competitive pay, 401ks, and benefits like health, dental, and vision. Drivers are guaranteed 40 hours per week, even in the winter months, and are home every night. Start your career today at Dana Trucking and Excavating. Apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
Where there's smoke, there's flavor, and there's plenty of that at the Smokehouse at Super Saver in Russ's Market. Award-winning Old World recipes made in Lincoln since 1984 with many flavors and smoked sausage and brats to choose from. The Smokehouse has something special for every season. Brats and sausage for the grill, beef sticks and beef jerky for snacking, and smoked salmon, smoked turkey, and smoked hams for your holiday feast. Stop by the Smokehouse at Super Saver in Russ's Market today to fulfill your search for real flavor.
Sometimes good people make mistakes. When you find yourself in need of an attorney, call Liberty Law Group. The attorneys at Liberty Law Group will defend you in court and protect your freedom to get you the best possible outcome and the justice you deserve. Trust your freedom to Liberty Law Group, the best criminal attorneys in Nebraska and Iowa. Call them today at 877-404-5238. That's 877-404-5238. Or check them out online at libertylawgroup.com.
You use your best defensive moves, but we're still in an accident. Trust the team at Eustace Body Shop to get you back in the game. The shop is factory certified, and their technicians have advanced training in most makes and models. There's no delay of game when they handle your insurance directly and warranty their work as long as you own your vehicle. And you're not going to miss a single play when you use their free loaner vehicles. Eustace Body Shop, where customers send their friends. Find a shop near you at EustaceBodyShop.com.
When you were a kid, clubs were cool. Robotics club and space club and stuff like that. But what do adults get? Book clubs, quilting clubs? Nah, forget that. How about margarita clubs and old-fashioned clubs? Get to Upside Bar and Lounge for the best clubs in town. Try all 10 varieties of Upside's margaritas and old fashions and take home a free souvenir glass. Grab the whole crew and pair it with taco night on Mondays or whiskey Wednesdays. Upside Bar and Lounge at 29th and Pine Lake.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
You've seen him on the bag. Now follow him online. It's Lofi, Country Heart's mascot. And not only is he a cute little slice, he adds a bit of fun to Fridays. Follow Lofi on Facebook for Free Bread Fridays. Each week his posts may include a kid-friendly coloring page, a fun bit of trivia, or one of his famous dad jokes. Jokes may be stale, but his bread is always fresh. Just like his post each week for a chance to win a coupon for a free Country Hearth product. Join the party with Country Hearth and Lofi on Facebook.com/Country Hearth Breads. Because when the bread is free, the fun rises.
Here's your updated 93.7 The Ticket forecast, sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, AC, and Electrical. Chance of thunderstorms with fog and spots early today, otherwise sunshine mixed with clouds at times. Highs level off around 81. Winds out of the northeast, 5 to 10 miles per hour. Slight chance of thunderstorms tonight, 65. That's your updated forecast on Lincoln's home for the Kansas City Royals. 93.7 The Ticket. I'm meteorologist Carol Foster. Currently 72.
Want to make the easy call? Call John Henry's. From leaky pipes to a broken AC, flickering lights to furnace fights, even drains and duct cleaning, we've got it handled. Plumbing, heating, air, and electrical, all under one trusted roof. Proudly serving homes across Lincoln, Omaha, and surrounding areas and ready 24/7. Visit calljh.com or call
John Henry's.
435-5555. John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air.
And electrical.
The friends at Ruska Schumer Guttering here in Lincoln remind you that the need for blood continues daily. Unfortunately, our blood banks are extremely low. Our community and our country depend on life-saving donors like you. You are eligible to donate every 56 days, and with each donation, you save up to 3 lives. Please go online and schedule an appointment to donate blood today. Thanks to Ruska Schumer Guttering here in Lincoln for making this message possible. They are a shining example of why America is a strong nation.
Coming at you live from the heart of downtown Lincoln. This is Old School with Foreman and Orman. Old School with Foreman and Orman is sponsored by Graham Tire Company of Lincoln, Nebraska Football Hall of Famer Jay Foreman.
Here's Troy Detmer dropping straight back in the pocket. Rifles a pass. It was tipped and picked off by Foreman. He's at the 15, 10, 5. He'll score! Foreman got it, and it's touchdown Huskers.
Black shirts, answer the call one more time.
And Austin Orman. Hour 1 of Old School is sponsored by Heartland of Nebraska Windows. Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Good morning. Happy Wednesday edition of Old School. Welcome into the show, 93.7 The Ticket, ticketfm.com. Streaming worldwide for you, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Allo Channel 961. Mr. Worldwide himself is here. Jay Foreman, welcome in, partner. How's it going?
I'm like a Worldwide West that used to run the New York Knicks. Now I'm back here going to take over the Huskers from afar. I didn't get to take over Husker network analyst, so I'm going to take over our airways and then get jiggy with it on my own on away game.
Their loss and their bad decision is our game.
No, they're good, man. Jay will do all right.
Oh, all right.
No, he'll do all right. He'll do good.
I'm just glad you're still here. That's what I'm glad about. How about the Rugs, Jay? How about Carpet Land? How about Lincoln East?
Oh, no, you know what's great is my man Brody McIntyre won MVP.
Mm-hmm.
B-Dog is awesome. A great kid, great family. Nate and Heidi are his parents, and been knowing Brody, and he's been on that grind forever. Went through trials and tribulations and just stayed down with the process. And it couldn't happen to a better kid. And it didn't even happen to him. He went and did it. He batted obviously 500. The cool thing about it, he goes down in he goes into the Hall of Fame, Legion Baseball Hall of Fame, and that's obviously something that nobody would ever be able to take away from him. More importantly, his best attribute, that me and him have the same birthday.
How about that?
Oh yeah.
How about
so
that?
You know what you see, man? That's a special day, man. I know he's hyped, man. And he's going to St. Thomas, play baseball up in Minneapolis.
Ooh, Tommy's.
Yeah.
Nice. That's a good school.
Great school. Brody's really worked for it, and he's been at East, and ultimate competitor. And look, man, for them to win it, they've been close a couple times. Last year included, a couple years ago, with that really good team from East, they lost in the championship game, and then obviously this team that didn't win state was able to get through. And so that lets you know that over there at Lincoln East, at least in baseball, they have built a program. So if I'm football or basketball around here, it's a lot more pressure on LPS to say, you know what, it's not going to hurt you that you bring in a coach that actually wants to coach kids, because you see them obviously not only coaching kids, they're striving. They're going to do better things after high school. Have Bjorkman on there, the pitcher. All those kids, man. They, it's a big tip of the hat to them, the East program. And then obviously, Brody was able to be the man of the hour last night.
Yeah, big congratulations to Carpet Land, to Lincoln East, the team that ends up winning it. I thought it was interesting, Jay, the year they win it in Nebraska, they don't win the whole dang thing. And then I wonder how much of a motivating factor it was, right? Beating Millard North 2 years ago, losing to Millard North in 8 innings in the Class A state finals. Not the exact same roster necessarily, but a bunch of the same kids. And still played as long of the season as they did, still made it back to the Legion World Series. For them to go all the way, for them to rally back from that deficit, to get down early and not flinch at all, to come back and not just win it, by one, but actually have some cushion there at the end. A heck of a run for them. I mean, for the last 5 years, just this is in the state of Nebraska, the way they've played, to go to the Legion World Series, to represent and to stare that adversity, that deficit in the face, and not flinch for a second. Impressive stuff.
Yeah, and look, since Lennox came down here, Coach Lennox came down here, he's made people uncomfortable. And it was a big move by Lincoln East to hire him as the coach, and obviously he's a teacher as well. But obviously coming down here from Omaha and having success in Omaha, coming to Lincoln and building the program, pushing the envelope, and really upping the commitment factor. You see the fruits of the labor the last 5 years, both here in high school and then obviously nationally. If you followed this team, the Carpet Land team, when they were in like regionals before they got there, they dropped the game they weren't supposed to. So they had their backs against the wall to get there
at all.
And then once they got there, then they had, in pool play, they lost one. So then they had to, kind of really handle their business, and obviously forecast somebody else didn't, and they get in the championship, and then was able to get through. And so It's a big honor for them. They should be celebrated. It's good for the city of Lincoln. More importantly, for the obviously the Lincoln East High School, and for the kids that are going to be coming back to play for East, baseball for the Spartans. It should be a motivating factor too, is because you're going to lose, the guys that are going on to college. They have Dele as well. I think he's going to UNO.
Hit a grand slam.
Yeah, he hit a grand slam the night before. They ruled a really good team, I think from Michigan, and was able to withstand the 6-1 deficit after the first or second inning, claw their way back, extend it to 9-6, and now was able to take it home.
Dele Adelante is one of those stories, Jay, that really jumped out at me at state this year. Just looking at his numbers throughout the course of the year, kind of following before we get to state baseball. That's a guy that came in pinch runner extraordinaire, one of the fastest dudes in the state. Early in his career, that's all he is. No, is there any bat there? Is he going to be anything more than just a fast kid playing center field and hit at the bottom of the lineup? That's a legitimate impact bat. More than just a pinch runner. So to see that's just one example. You mentioned Brody McIntyre, obviously his development, having tracked him. But there's legitimate, year over year development going on in that Lincoln East program, and not just for one or two kids. It's consistently up
every
and down
year
the
after year. I mean, obviously kids are sometimes trying to, and you can't really, I guess you can say that, they're recruiting, but I think the coach and the ability to have a program recruits itself. And so you're not able to really opt in to Lincoln East because it's generally closed. And so it's not an easy school to get into to go play baseball. But what they've done is they've built the program. I mean, we talk about this and everything. I mean, you got a lot of coaches in Lincoln, and I know it might be something that they don't want to hear because they're probably in class right now, so I really don't care, is that they're just there in body and not even with their mind and soul. And then you got a coach like Lanik that's doing it for the right reasons. And sure, it's hard. It's tough. But look, all the kids. I mean, you got to think, Bjorkman was able to get over there from Northeast, was the number one pitcher, I think he has a freshman or sophomore at North on varsity. Cut his teeth on JV, and then look at him here last night and throughout the whole, obviously, tournament. And he's going off to play college. So, I mean, the proof's in the pudding. Now, will it happen all the time? Who knows? But I think now we're in football season. You can take something from baseball season, what they've done, and eventually be okay with it. He ruffled some feathers when he got here, right? Because they knew that you're getting a guy that's going to, he's coaching baseball and it's demanding, and you got to be committed. But all those players love playing for him because they know exactly where they stand. So for as much as LPS has taken on the chin and been welcoming the butt kickings and then having inept coaches in other sports, then you see it. I don't know Lanik personally. I don't know if I probably met him before, but he's got to be somewhat of a good dude. Right. And obviously is able to develop kids and develop a program to where they are the program in the state of Nebraska where it's hadn't been that before he got here.
And that's where I'm curious to see, too, if something like Lincoln Southwest basketball title can build that program down there. Sure. Obviously, they've sent people to college. I mean, Frager obviously comes to mind, plenty of others as well. Is what East is doing. Is Southwest finally getting the basketball title? Hey, football. Guess what? It's your turn. Yeah. Not going to be a 1-year build, not going to be a 2-year build, might not even be a 5-year build. There's no reason the football in Lincoln can't get to the same heights as some of that softball as well.
And
volleyball.
And be, competitive. And be really competitive. Whether it's school, we're going to call some high school games, we're going to have high school games here on the ticket, and all the Lincoln schools are going to be highlighted. But it is their chance. I always say, look, let's get into high school football. East has won the city title, I think, the last 3 or 4 years. Text line, correct me if I'm wrong. I think they have. Matter of fact, it might be more than 3 years. They aren't generally known to be really down with the football.
It's not a quote unquote football school,
right? And it's not. It's kind of like come as you are, right?
Gingery's been there a long time.
Yep, and he treats the kids right. Good. They all love him. They win the city title. Last year, I think they exceeded expectations where they were dangerous in the playoffs, right? And we called a couple games. I remember when me and Nick called when they played Elkhorn South. They had a chance to win it. They were down by score. I call it a score and a half, but obviously you had to score. Then whether you go for a field goal now or try to touchdown or whatever, and they kind of just ran out of time. I think Jeter was the quarterback then. And so that was, he was a great player, and that Dash Bauman, and they had some really good young, really not young, but really good players. So they've won it, right? But they're not known for it. They really haven't built a program, right? But they're like a sleeping giant. There's nothing against Gingrich, I'm just telling you, but he's done a good job. The best thing he does is that he's put guys at Nebraska. He's put guys at Wyoming. He's put guys at the next level. I guess you can count Jeter, but Jeter loved playing football. So Jeter is a great baseball player, but loved playing. So they let you know it's more the man than the program, right? So, okay, you got that. Southeast has probably been, known as the football school, right? Put some guys at different places, right? Probably need to step up. Southwest is at time. I never forget. They were the best looking team I saw getting off the bus, right? They're trying to get it together. And Lincoln High is on the come up, but they don't have the resources. Then you have Northwest, really good coaching staff, and North Star, really good coaching staff, which had my man Tyrell Chapman that's at Penn State. They had the big offensive lineman. He went somewhere. The talent is there. There's talent walking around in those high school hallways, but you have to have a program to make it appealing. And it starts on baseball's different because they've had the Dominators, the Cyclones, I can speak freely about those kids that won that championship, where they've had good coaching from the club level, right? So these high school coaches are benefiting off of it. And baseball is a little bit different than football. Just the sport in general. It's an individual sport in a team environment. You got to think, you only can control when you're at bat or how you're in the field. I can't control if you can't get it over the plate.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? But
Right.
we got to play team ball. I might have to take a walk or wear a pitch or something like that.
Sacrifice bunt, that
Right.
sort of thing.
And then basketball is different because it's one conglomerate here that then dictates high school. But then the best players aren't playing, and then they don't have any besides like Bott and Richie and and Campbell. Besides that, there's no good coaches, let alone there's a couple coaches that aren't good people, right? Then you have football. This is where the rubber hits the road. To build a program, if you look at Omaha, they play middle school football.
Yeah.
Right? And then their youth football feeds into said middle school and high school. So it's the trickle down effect. And then you're able to kind of, it's like my high school. Like if I went and watched the Eden Prairie youth football and then middle school, they're running this pretty much the same place. It's not the full playbook, but and then you're having high school coaches, middle school coaches, they're all together coaching and supporting each other. Like my high school coach is at the youth football games all the time. He's at the middle school games all the time. He's at the freshman and JV games, right? So when these kids go to a Seacrest on Friday night, that's exactly who they would want to play for. That's where it starts. That's the difference, and that's what Atlantic has been able to do. But it's also a byproduct of these club teams and these coaches that have done really well, like from the Cyclones and the Dominators. You can't deny that.
No, you can't.
Because the majority of those kids at East played for the Cyclones. And so Trevor's good coach. And I'm not taking anything away from him, but I'm saying that's the difference between being able to compete at a local and national level for the Lincoln East Spartans versus Lincoln football and basketball as well. Year in and year out being able to compete. One more thing. When we had Coach Baugh on here, I think before the state tournament, before the state tournament, the one thing he said that people didn't pick up on, he went and watched the Twins in 8th grade and was like, that's exactly what I need right there. He didn't worry about their size. He didn't worry about anything. He saw their best attributes. They saw him there. They went there, and then obviously they were able to, get through. So you got to get off your butt. And obviously he coaches the kid hard. I mean, you've seen Ball. He coaches them hard. You got to treat them right.
Like you said, coaching them hard can be treating them right. In fact, it is a lot of the times, right? Demanding the best, bringing the best out of them. You don't want to sell the kids short.
Yeah.
That's not fair to them.
Right.
At all.
I mean, my high school coach, we still got a great relationship. He's hard as, Mike Grant was hard on us and stuff like that. He was demanding, but not demeaning. We got a good text here from Barney, and this is also Standing Bear too. they're on the come up too, and in baseball, Standing Bear is going to push East in baseball because a lot of the kids, sometimes you get an overflow of kids, and Standing Bear is right there, and from East, and then you get little kids from North and everywhere else, and their numbers aren't maxed up. They got a pretty good baseball program over there
already,
just right off the rip. Now baseball is a little bit easier to kind of hit the ground running, but that just also a byproduct of what they've been doing here locally with the club programs.
Yeah, to a point. I mean, there's been some really bad baseball.
Yeah, but
I'm not saying it's Standing Bear. I'm saying one in particular, but bad baseball, is as bad as bad football,
right?
In a lot of ways. I mean, if you don't have a kid that can throw it across the plate,
if you really bad.
Don't know where to go with the baseball, if you're committing simple errors, you don't have an approach at the plate. Like, I know football, everything got to build, but Jay, we have seen some bad baseball over the years.
I guess my statement was it's easier for Standing Bear to hit the ground running when the king of the castle is right there, and there's only so many at bats. There's only so many. So the amount of really good baseball players that normally wouldn't be able to play high school baseball if Standing Bear wasn't there.
Yeah.
Right. And probably made it fed into Southeast and all this other stuff. And let's not forget, Southeast had a really good run there when they had like Max Butenbach and all that other stuff. So I don't want to take anything away from them. But Standing Bear is literally right there, and it's not too far for kids to drive. Essentially, you take a right or left on 84th.
Yeah.
Right. So you're able as a baseball program to hit the ground running. That's my statement.
Well, and to your point, there's a lot more infrastructure in youth sport and youth baseball than football in Lincoln, at least visibly.
There's not one conglomerate, number one,
right?
And the club programs don't dictate. There's not this whole like backhand deals and all that type of stuff.
And that's not at all a knock on the Lincoln youth football people that come in.
No,
they're doing a good job trying to get it up and running.
Lincoln youth football.
Yes.
So Lincoln, this is not. So when I'm more or less talking about basketball. When I'm talking about that, Lincoln youth football, I'm going to tell you this. It's been a conservative effort. Obviously, you've seen a couple more high school coaches down there, right? Because we do stuff down there. And then Lincoln Youth Football has done a really good job over the last 4 years of really amping it up. They're really it's really well run, right? They got really good coaches in there, and you're seeing players start to develop. Now you got to get them from there, right, to make that big jump to high school. That's why I always say the first impression that 8th graders get of your program is your freshman coach.
Yeah.
Is your freshman coach. But your freshman coach can't be your best representation if he's not supported by the varsity coach. You get what I'm saying?
If the varsity coach doesn't care about what the program looked like, he's just concerned about the 13 to 15 guys on his
because
team.
That's the first person when they go around and have those like high school nights, and when you're in 8th grade and they have to go and see, kind of meet everybody. Now it's not all about sports, but if you're playing football, it's a big reason that where they're going, right?
Yeah,
like these kids have played these sports their whole life up until high school. They want to play high school sports. They want to play for you, so you have to understand. You're essentially serving them, but the first representation of you is the freshman coach, because most likely there's not a lot of freshmen that are going to go from 8th grade football, essentially 9th grade, to playing in varsity. If they are, it's spot duty. Now there's obviously some guys that can do it, but over the time, it's just going to be, you're going to play 9th grade or you're going to play JV. Because I don't think they do the 10th grade anymore. You're going to go from freshman to JV.
I think so.
And then that's even a big jump. But that's the first representation that you're getting. He's the first one that's going to be how they view you as a head coach in varsity based on how the head coach as a freshman is. And so that's where you got to really step it up.
A few texts to get to here before we go to break. We'll talk to Evan Bland of the Omaha World Herald coming up here. Jackson wants to know, Jay, do you think if every Lincoln high school had their own football stadium, would football be stronger in Lincoln?
Probably. But I'm going to tell you, Seacrest is great.
Seacrest is great.
UBT. Northwest. That's an awesome stadium. So, sure, that would be it. And that's what kind of like what we had our own. That would be part of it. But I think also a better question there for Jackson, it'd be better if they had more of a build the program feel. And, really, it should be an obligation. Look, I'm going to tell you this. Coaching high school sports or coaching in general is a thankless job. So majority of the coaches coach for, they want to, coach kids and give back. So that, you always want to give them a tip of the cap and much respect, right? So let's get all the warm and fuzzies out of the way. That's it, right? I'll give you your respect for coaching, period. But if you're coaching, then coach. You get what I'm saying?
Holistically.
Then coach.
Not when it's convenient.
So what that means, you need to build a program, because here's the problem with some of the coaches that I've been able to watch and see, and then obviously know a lot of kids that play more. Like you're sometimes they think like you're coming to play for them. They're bigger than the program. Well, you're not even building a program. You can't build a program and be a D-bag.
Right.
You can't.
No.
Don't try to act like it's like you against the world, and dude, it's actually just you on the mountaintop. You know what I'm saying? You're not that guy, right?
No.
And so I think the biggest thing is, like, if you want to build it, you need to build it from the ground up. Because ideally, I'd like to think that you're trying to coach as long as you're going to be a teacher. Because around here, you have to be a teacher to be a head coach, right? Is that the case? Pretty much.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, that's my understanding.
Yeah, or it's preferred.
Yeah.
Which then, furthermore, brings me to this. If it's highly suggested that you're a teacher, then you damn well better be on your best behavior as a coach, because you were a teacher first. Now, I know that's for a fact.
Yes.
My aunt is a superintendent. I know that for a fact. So that's where they run into trouble, right? Well, and that's where like, I know like Hudson Metzger, and I know the Twins and all them. They're like, man, Bob's, he coaches hard, but he really cares about us. He's really good to us, right? So he knows how to do it. So that's where you're going to run into trouble, right?
Yeah.
You can't turn a blind eye, and that's where you see guys lose programs or lose like the insight, or like the sight of it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I'll say this in response to Jackson's text. I think you're spot on. You got to build the program first. To me, each school, Jay, having its own stadium would be the overflow effect of having successful programs, right? I don't think you need to start with the stadium, and that's going to do anything.
That ain't gonna work.
You got to build the program. You got to win. You got to earn the resources, because guess what? Everyone plays a similar amount of games at similar positions, right? Some maybe more at UBT, some more at Lincoln High, some more at Seacrest. You have 3 really good fields already. Every school has their own practice field. It's not like anyone's driving half an hour to go practice.
You're not in inner city Philly where you're like practicing.
No.
At 2:00 in the afternoon, another team is coming at 4.
Yeah. Win some games, and then you'll get your stadium. But here's the other thing. There's only so much land, right? Do you really want to drive, 6 blocks or whatever to go play a home game? Why not just drive to Seacrest then? I don't think each team having its own stadium is the pressing issue when it comes to football and Lincoln.
No, I think it's great. It'd be great, but we're past that. I don't think we can't backtrack and get that right. We got Seacrest, and there's another text here, Nebraska, with 12 high schools now playing varsity football in Lincoln. How can a city the size of Lincoln ever compete for a Class A state championship again? Well, I mean, we just laid it out.
There are more than 12 schools in Omaha.
Yeah, and sure, but Omaha's really taking it more serious, and you got to make playing football. Football is the hardest sport to play. You play because you got to commit year round, in theory. College for sure, but high school, I believe in multi-sport athletes. But when it's football season, you're doing a lot of practicing and no playing.
You get the fewest number of games in football compared to any other
So
sport.
you got to make it appealing when you come out there, when appealing out there. And sure, kids will adapt because it's hard and all that. But when you make it and have a good experience at a young age for these kids, you'll have more retention.
Yeah.
That's how you have a lot of guys that end up playing. It's not all about the Division I guys. The teams that you're seeing, take Miller South out of it, because that was kind of like a prep school.
Yeah.
But the West Side teams and all that, they had like complimentary players that had great high school careers that maybe they chose not to go play college, but they had a really good high school experience, and they were really good players. So they had the depth there, but they all were committed, and they all were able to grow inside the program.
With that, we'll go to break. Plenty more to get to on this topic as we continue on. Plenty to hear from Husker football. Heard from a few coaches yesterday, Brett Maher, Corey Brown, and G. Boyd. We'll do that coming up in hour 2. What did Evan Bland see in here at the press conference yesterday? We'll hear from him right for the Omaha World Herald right after this on Old School.
You're listening to Old School with Jay Foreman and Austin Orman. Download the mobile app and listen wherever you are on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Perch Merch is your one-stop shop for all your printing and promotional needs in Lincoln, Nebraska. They specialize in screen printing, embroidery, vehicle wraps, window wraps, print collateral, promotional products, and signage. At Perch Merch, they're committed to delivering high-quality products and exceptional customer service. Their experienced team of designers and printing professionals will work with you every step of the way to ensure that your vision is realized. Call for a quote today at 402-217-5212 or go to perchmerch.com.
Bagels and Joe is the best place to start off your mornings this summer, and you can order your breakfast ahead of time on their app. This summer's cream cheese flavor is pickle. Pair it with a blueberry cobbler iced latte, and don't forget their Berry Breeze dirty soda. Stop by any of their 4 locations in Lincoln and their location in Seward. Bagels and Joe.
You use your best defensive moves, but we're still in an accident. Trust the team at Eustace Body Shop to get you back in the game. The shop is factory certified, and their technicians have advanced training in most makes and models. There's no delay of game when they handle your insurance directly and warranty their work as long as you own your vehicle. And you're not going to miss a single play when you use their free loaner vehicles. Eustace Body Shop, where customers send their friends. Find a shop near you at EustaceBodyShop.com.
Big box stores are tempting for buying equipment for your high schooler in sports or for yourself in your sports leisures. But buying new is awfully expensive. Why not go somewhere with new and used options? Play It Again Sports has quality, slightly to gently used equipment, and 50% of their inventory is actually new equipment. It's more than baseball, softball, and golf. They also have equipment for disc golf, fitness, hockey, and more. Plus, they're always buying products. Bring your gear that you're done with and get trade money on the spot. Play It Again Sports at 48th and Vine.
Building a new home can be a challenge, a lot of big choices. With our Remington homes, we have designed 15 different floor plans that appeal to a wide range of people.
Bob Benish of Aspen Builders, talking about Remington Homes, which makes the home building process easier.
People really enjoy being able to go to our website, which is remingtonlincoln.com, pick a plan, pick a price point, go through and build it yourself. You have a lot of options, whether you want granite, painted trim, wood floors, more stone, all options with our Remington homes. People do not want to be married to their house payment. You're able to get what you really want in a home for a great price with very limited stress. And that's what Remington homes are all about.
Home building is easier with a Remington home from Aspen Builders at 423-6811. Online at remingtonlincoln.com. remingtonlincoln.com.
When you or someone you know has been seriously injured and you find yourself in need of an attorney, call Liberty Law Group. The attorneys at Liberty Law Group will fight for the justice you deserve in court to get the very best possible outcome. Trust the compassionate and hardworking attorneys at Liberty Law Group when you need an attorney in Nebraska or Iowa. Call them today at 877-404-5238. That's 877-404-5238. Or check them out online at libertylawgroup.com.
Are you looking for an exciting new way to put your skills to work? Explore new career options in the fintech industry at Currency, a Sandhills global company. We offer full-time positions in financial sales, compliance, operations, and other fields. We also offer a 4.5-day work week, an attractive benefits package, and opportunities for advancement. Put your motivation to work and grow with us at Currency. Visit gocurrency.com/careers to learn more.
Your friends with ArcLight Solutions here in Lincoln would like to take this time out to thank our first responders, doctors, nurses, and the healthcare professionals who put their lives in harm's way for our protection. Blood donation centers need people to donate blood. Be a silent hero and donate blood today. It will help accident victims, surgery patients, sick children, and members of the military. This message from ArcLight Solutions here in Lincoln, specializing in all your IT consulting needs.
Back to Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back in. It is Old School, show brought to you by the good folks over at Graham Tire Company. Appreciate everyone's involvement and engagement with the show early on. We're headed to our Aloe Fiber VIP line where we're joined by Evan Bland of the Omaha World Herald. Evan, happy Wednesday morning. How are you?
Happy Wednesday, Austin. Doing okay. How's it going?
It's going well here. It's going even better for Pete Crow-Armstrong, your presumptive National League MVP at this point. What has gotten into that man? Is he eating extra Wheaties? What's going on with Pete Crow-Armstrong, Evan?
I can't decide if I like MVPCA or MVP better, but they're both pretty good. And, it feels like it's a two-team race with him and Shohei Ohtani at this point, but what a season he's had. I mean, 2 years ago, he was sort of an afterthought in the organization, and now he's playing elite defense and center and, stealing bases, hitting home runs. He's actually walking at an acceptable rate now this year. That was the big thing that changed for him this year. And he's been streaky, but like his good times have been unbelievable. And I mean, the White Sox can testify to that after the last couple of days, but what a fun season he's having. He's a personality, a character, a little bit different than maybe what you would think of with like a standard like baseball player going through the marathon of a season. So it kind of feels like he's becoming this generation's Sammy Sosa a little bit. I was a Cubs fan during that home run race in the late 90s, and it just feels like he's kind of capturing the imagination of that next group of fans. So really cool to see that. And yeah, I wouldn't mind if they're playing into late October this year at all.
So between Sosa and Pete Crow Armstrong, who was the rallying point? Who was the guy for most Cubs fans during that run about a decade ago? Obviously, it was 10 years ago they win the 2016 World Series. Was that Rizzo's team? Was that Bryant's team? Was that Baez's team? Obviously, he featured in the trade that brought Pete Crow Armstrong over. Who was the guy kind of in that interim period for the Cubs?
Yeah, I mean, I think probably the heart and soul was Anthony Rizzo. I think you got to, but like, the best teams are going to have a bunch of guys. Like if this team goes on a deep run, you're going to remember what Alex Bregman is doing and Michael Busch and Nico Horner and how the staff is coming together. But yeah, I think like when you think of the iconic moments from that 2016 team, it's Rizzo, jumping up on the railing in foul ground to make a catch or slugging a ball out to right. But like that was such a cool team because I mean Dexter Fowler had his moments in that one, and Jason Hayward had the talk during the rain delay, and Chris Bryant had the final out when he was granted. Obviously, Kyle Schwarber was a star late in that playoff run too. So, hopefully this group has kind of that same ensemble cast that can support them the rest of the way. But I'd probably say Rizzo, but it's a lot tougher when you talk about that 2016 team that won it all.
You mentioned Dexter Foster and Dexter Fowler together. Where do you think Dexter Foster would play if he were a baseball player?
Dude, I'm telling you, that's one of those guys, like, I have to really be careful about saying those names right. I have confused the names Dexter Foster and Dexter Fowler many times. Dexter Fowler was a great leadoff guy. Dexter Foster, hey, he could be a great rotational linebacker for Nebraska this year. Probably toolsy enough. I'd put him in the outfield if it were me. But I think probably his best prospects are sticking to football.
So then the flip side of that, and then we'll get into Husker football. If Dexter Fowler was a football player, where are you playing him?
Receiver would be my sense. I mean, he was pretty fast. I don't know that he was an overly big guy. Maybe if you put a few pounds on him, he could be a linebacker. But I'd have to look into that history. But I'm put him at receiver for me, and he seems like a guy who could take the top off of defense.
And as we're finishing out the football baseball crossovers, don't forget Jeff Samardzija, the Shark, former football player, quarterback in college. He was a Cub for some time, wasn't he?
That's right. Yeah. Notre Dame guy and Cubs starter in the, early 2010s or so, and had some strikeout stuff. I wonder if like that kind of athlete's going to go by the wayside, especially in the NIL era, like where you can really focus in on one sport. Like it's what he did in college. Like that seems like it's going to be more rare, but yes, good call up on the Shark back in the day too.
The guys I remember that were the crossover guys. Pat Condon is the basketball baseball guy. He had Adley Rutschman as a football baseball guy, and then Samardzija comes to mind. Was it Corey Cooper that played football and baseball for Nebraska for a minute?
Yep, Corey Cooper. Yep, he did that. Of course, Bubba Starling had the potential to be the quarterback and a baseball player. Never saw how that turned out. But yeah, there are a few of those guys, but it's so hard to do. And I've talked to guys even in the last 10 years who come into college and they're like, yeah, I'm going to try to do both. And it's just, it's a really tall task. Like you think of Ahmad Hudson, the target who Nebraska is still after, committed to LSU, wants to play basketball and football at the Division I level. I mean, he's incredibly talented, and I suppose if anyone can, it'd be a guy like that. But just the physical and mental toll that takes. I mean, that's something, less than 1% of guys seem like they could do at that level.
Well, and of course, some of the biggest what ifs in, we'll say modern Husker football history, last 20, 30 years or so, sliding doors, Carl Crawford as a, baseball football guy, Bubba Starling, like you mentioned. And then the other one that comes to mind for me, Monty Harrison, who ends up going the pro baseball route, but then comes back to college football at 28 years old for Arkansas?
Right. Yep, exactly right. And then he got hurt, and I think he might still be there. I'm not totally sure on that, but yeah, a few of those what ifs. The Carl Crawford one, he was being recruited to come run the option as a quarterback in the late 90s with Nebraska when they were at their peak. That would have been something to behold. I think he probably, he was what, the number 1 pick or number 2 pick in the draft. So he probably chose correctly in the end, but that would have been something to see with him pitching the ball in Memorial Stadium.
Well, Bubba Starling was also a top 10 pick, and that didn't work out quite the same for him as it did for Carl Crawford. But let's talk some Husker football here, Evan, and heard from a few coaches yesterday, Brett Maher, Corey Brown, but we'll start with Jeep Wade. Position battles, but he doesn't like to call them position battles. What'd you like, and what'd you hear from what Jeep Wade had to say yesterday?
Yeah, he's always interesting to hear from and to watch during the open practice session too, when he's in his element. I thought offensive line to me was going into camp one of the most set positions on the entire roster, where you had a pretty good sense of who the starting 5 would be and how that would play out. I do think this week sort of opened the door to at least a little bit of intrigue when you see Tree Babalade wearing the yellow injury jersey. Doesn't look like anything major, but he's been a little bit limited in practice, and so that's allowed Gunnar Gatula to come in and take those snaps with the ones. And obviously, Gatula is a multi-year starter who was missed a lot of the last year, recovering from a knee injury. He's full strength, really, I think, took advantage of his downtime through strength training and learning the scheme and taking that next step mentally. So it does look like there's more of a true competition at that right tackle spot than maybe what we thought even a few weeks ago. And then, Jeep Wade mentioned too, his goal is to try to find those 8 guys who can win you Big Ten football games. And so what exactly that looks like, you've got the 5 that you would figure with Elijah Pritchett and Paul Mubenga, Justin Evans, Brendan Black, and then Babalade and Gatula. And so then where do those other 2 come from? He threw out Gibson Pyle as a name to watch. That was interesting. I mean, he's a guard, interior guy who also, similar to Gatula, had an injury last season, in Pyle's case, in camp, and missed the whole year. He had been trending probably toward a rotational role. So it's interesting that he's back and healthy and maybe could be part of that 8-man group that they're looking at. And then, beyond that, who else might step up? Is that Preston Tamua? Is that Sam Sledge? Is that Tyler Kanak, who's a 5th-year college football player? So they're trying to round out that rotation, and we'll see how it goes. This last week is pretty valuable for them in terms of one more week of fundamentals before you really get into the in-season mode and start preparing for Ohio next week. So I guess I kind of came in with it thinking, there's a little bit more to follow with this position group than maybe what we even thought about a month ago.
Going against them would be the defensive line. We heard from Corey Brown as well. He mentioned the rotation. He's got to find the 6 guys. What did he have to say, and what was your interpretation of where he thinks that interior defensive line rotation is at right now?
Yeah, kind of a similar goal. Rob Orich has talked about trying to find 6 among those interior spots to rotate through, and Riley Van Poppel and Jasir Whittington clearly are among that group. Whittington spoke yesterday. I think he's one of the more colorful personalities on the team overall, and even in some of the open session yesterday, he's encouraging other guys in the moment and saying, "Hey, we're gonna watch this back on film and get better." He's clearly a leader there. Sula Fotu is someone who's coming along. Owen Stoutmeyer, who talked yesterday for a little bit, is someone else that they like. And then, beyond that, who else might step up is that Preston Tamua. Is that Sam Sledge? Is that Tyler Kanak? Who's a 5th-year college football player? So they're trying to round out that rotation, and And then, whether this is someone in that rotation or not, but I like a guy like Dylan Berryman, who's just massive in terms of his frame. Like, that's someone who you wonder maybe could take the old Riley Van Poppel game plan and be a kind of a goal line package sort of guy. And now that there are no red shirts, like, you can pick your spots in any given game with someone like that too. So I think that's probably where you start. And then it kind of comes down to like is Cam Lenhart an edge or a tackle? I think they're still kind of moving guys around a little bit in terms of how you would like identify guys specifically positionally. But to hear Corey Brown talk about it, like, kind of the same thing. I mean, they're grinding through practice. They talk about heavy hands and exploding off the ball and getting a little bit bigger. I think that's a group probably when Matt Rule talks about losing fat, gaining lean muscle mass, like the defensive line probably looks the part as much as anyone on the roster. So obviously that's a group it doesn't get the pub or the buzz maybe that the offensive line does, but they feel like even if they're a little bit undersized, as Jasir Whittington said yesterday, they got the heart of a lion, and that allows for a little bit more quickness, a little bit more leverage, and so we'll see how that plays out in the Big Ten, but I think they're getting there in terms of that rotation.
You mentioned Dylan Berryman there. Another guy that Corey Brown was asked about was Tyson Terry. What's the level of intrigue behind those two guys and their futures in the program? Do you think that those are guys that are going to be ready to contribute this year? I mean, I mentioned a little bit about that on Berryman. Or is this kind of that developmental year, Terry coming back from injury, Berryman getting into the program, and that maybe, next year Nebraska won't need to go into the portal for such reinforcements in the interior defensive line?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Tyson Terry is a guy, absolutely. Probably I should have mentioned him earlier, and he was out of sight, out of mind last year just because he was hurt, recovering. I mean, he's ready to roll too. When you see him out there, a guy who was a multi-time state champion as a wrestler, like, he understands leverage and angles and how to work his body in the trenches. Like, that's someone I think absolutely could be in that mix, sooner rather than later, probably as soon as this year. Cade Petschak is someone else that you can mention potentially on that interior spot. He's up a little bit. He played as a freshman last year, undersized. He's put on some weight, 6'5", probably 280 or so now. So you have some guys who are able to rotate through, and yeah, I mean, ideally these guys are guys that can develop within your program, that you can put on the weight, that can get some experience earlier in their careers and then ramp up into bigger roles. That hasn't necessarily been the case for Nebraska. They've kind of had to patch it together with transfers and maybe at times playing guys sooner than you would like, at least more extensively. But it does seem like that group is in a better spot, that coaching staff has a vision for what they want to do with these guys. And I think too, that's a position probably as much as any that you look at that first 3 weeks, first month of the season, like, you're going to find out who your gamers are, who can you rotate in, who can stay fresh for X amount of snaps, who can show that toughness in a live tackling situation as much as they do in practice, that they can be reliable. So I think that's a position that they'll probably go into it with names that they feel like can contribute. But I would watch those performances, especially those in the non-conference, as they start to establish a pecking order and kind of rotation they want to take into Big Ten play.
How much do you think we'll be able to learn about both the interior defensive line and the offensive line for Nebraska in the non-conference? I don't want to make, too much or too little of the non-conference schedule. It is what it is with the two MAC teams in North Dakota. Do you think we're going to be able to have any major takeaways for what the season could portend for those groups through the non-conference? Or is it, hey, put it on film and then see if it applies in Big Ten play?
Yeah, I mean, I think those are positions that you should see what you want to see in the non-conference, and that to me would affect how I would look into the Big Ten. Like, if Anthony Calandria stays clean in the early part of September and there aren't sack issues, and you see the running backs get going because there are open rushing lanes, then yeah, I'm saying you're feeling pretty good about that O-line, and that would validate sort of the outlook and the investment that Nebraska put in to that position. And if they can't get the running game going, or Colander is under duress or whatever, like, I think that would tell you some things as well. And on the defensive side, like, you look at especially Ohio and Bowling Green, like, to start, like, these were not good offenses last year, and they're going to be very young, unproven offenses this year. So if you can't get after the quarterback, and if you can't force some third and longs and put them into some predictable passing situations, then that probably is going to tell you a lot about that defensive line. So yeah, I absolutely think, like, these are the games that you expect to win handily if you're Nebraska. And really what allows you to do that is you have older, stronger guys in the trenches, and you have more of them than the other team does. So that if Nebraska is going to wear down their opponent, it's not going to be because of their skill players necessarily. It's going to be because they're going to be able to grind it out in the trenches on both sides. So we'll see how much depth they have, how much talent they have. It seems like it's an upgrade. It seems, when you watch practice, like they're in a good situation. But yeah, I mean, I think those are two positions absolutely that you can look at their performance in September, and that'll affect what you think their odds are for winning some of these games in the Big Ten later on.
And that voice you hear on our Allo Fiber VIP line is Evan Bland of the Omaha World Herald. Evan, as always, appreciate your time, appreciate your insight. Talk to you next week.
Thanks, Austin. See ya.
There he goes, Evan Bland with us again on our Allo Fiber VIP line. Check out Evan's work online at omaha.com. Great Twitter follow as well. For you Cubs fans, but of course for you Husker football and baseball fans all season long as well. We'll go to break, wrap up hour one with our suspect sports people of the week next on Old School.
Watch Old School live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Husker fans know a strong game plan makes all the difference, no matter where they cheer from. The dedication fans bring every season is the same dedication that builds long-term financial success. That's why Emeritus connects fans across the country with financial professionals who can help them plan, prepare, and move toward their goals. As a proud partner of Husker Athletics, Emeritus supports fans in every corner of the country because great fans deserve a great future. Emeritus, fulfilling life, fueled by Husker pride. Go to emeritus.com/Husker Wealth for more information.
When you or someone you know has been seriously injured and you find yourself in need of an attorney, call Liberty Law Group. The attorneys at Liberty Law Group will fight for the justice you deserve in court to get the very best possible outcome. Trust the compassionate and hardworking attorneys at Liberty Law Group when you need an attorney in Nebraska or Iowa. Call them today at 877-404-5238. That's 877-404-5238. Or check them out online at libertylawgroup.com.
Looking for a fun way to give back? Join us for the 2026 Kicks for Kids Nebraska Fun Run Walk, presented by Pinnacle Bank, on Saturday, August 22nd at James Arthur Vineyard. Enjoy a scenic 5K through beautiful grounds. Every step helps provide shoes to kids in Lincoln and Lancaster County schools, with options for adults, wine included, and kids. Registration fees include a t-shirt, medal, and bag. Sign up today and make a difference at kicksforkidsnebraska.org.
If you're seeking a career with a growing company, Gaina Trucking and Excavating is hiring and looking for additions to their team. Gaina Trucking has a strong team culture, competitive pay, 401ks, and benefits like health, dental, and vision. Drivers are guaranteed 40 hours per week, even in the winter months, and are home every night. Start your career today at Gaina Trucking and Excavating. Apply today at gainatrucking.com.
Visit any part of Southeast Nebraska, and you've seen the impact of an SCC grad. At Southeast, we're redefining the community college experience. You'll do more than build a career. You'll build the place you call home. At SCC, Grant had an expert who did more to build them up, to focus their drive, to shape their resolve. Southeast Community College. Let's do more.
Hey, Jake, you know what I love almost as much as the Big Red?
Big scores on the field?
Good guess, but nope.
Big spikes on the court?
Love those too, but I'm thinking food. Like those big, budget-friendly portions you find at Buzzard Billy's.
Now you're talking. I love Buzzard Billy's. I love the shrimp po' boys and the blackened chicken.
You almost always find me enjoying gumbo.
Big plays, big scores, big wins, Big Red. Yep, love them all, especially
those big portions that are budget-friendly. Only at Buzzard Billy's, A-Market.
Big value and big flavor meet at Wings and Rings thanks to the all-new delicious Duo Combo. This is the one you've been waiting for. Get one half-sized appetizer and 2 entrees with a side for only $19.99. Bring a friend for the best deal in town on any day of the week, during game time, or whenever the heck you want. Their made-to-order wings and chicken sandwiches are waiting for you at their 68th and O and 40th and Old Cheney locations. Stop by Wings and Rings and celebrate every day with the best meal deal in town.
Here's your updated 93.7 The Ticket forecast, sponsored by Bryant Air Conditioning, Electrical, Heating, and Plumbing. Sunshine mixed with clouds at times today with a chance for storms. High of 81, winds out of the northeast, 5 to 10 miles per hour. Partly cloudy skies again tonight, slight chance of thunderstorms, lows dip down to about 65. That's your updated forecast on Lincoln's home for the Kansas City Royals. 93.7 The Ticket. I'm meteorologist Kara Foster. Right now, 74.
Go Hog Wild Pit Barbecue.
It's hard to choose a favorite at Hog Wild, but I'd have to say it's their award-winning ribs. Hog Wild buys their meat from those who share their high-quality standards, then hand rubs each slab with their famous seasoning blend and slow smokes them over hickory each and every day for flavor and tenderness you're gonna keep coming back for. Order online at GoHogWild.com. Hog Wild Pit Barbecue, 3210 Cornhusker Highway in Lincoln.
But don't be late, we close at 8.
For remote starters, audio upgrades, and more, there's only one place to go. Auto Sounds of Lincoln at 48th and O.
The Friends with Midwest Elite Family Medicine in Lincoln thank our first responders, doctors, nurses, and the healthcare professionals who put their lives in harm's way for our protection. Blood donation centers need people to donate blood. Be a silent hero and donate blood today. It will help accident victims, surgery patients, sick children, and members of our military. This message is from Midwest Elite Family Medicine in Lincoln, accepting and welcoming all new patients. Call today at 402-904-8578.
Back to Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back in to Old School. Austin Norman, Jay Foreman with you. Hour 1 of the show brought to you by Heartland of Nebraska Windows. Appreciate them and everything they do for us here at the show. You can find them all across Lincoln and across the Midwest. Jay, it's time for Suspect Sports Person of the Week. One of our favorite segments here, Wednesdays at 9:45. Got a couple of good options to throw your way. First and foremost, we go to the high school football ranks down in Guntersville, Alabama, where a man by the name of Jerry Folks had just taken over as associate head coach and defensive coordinator. He submitted his resignation after a public intoxication charge at an opponent high school's football jamboree. So this guy gets the DC gig, named associate head coach. He's going to do some Connor Stallions work. He goes to Arab High School's jamboree game, shows a pass of some sort, claiming that he is with the Birmingham News. Whether or not that's a real institution is also to be determined, to do some advanced scouting. But he couldn't just help himself to some advanced scouting. Got kicked out for public intoxication. The night after, Guntersville lost to a school called Douglas 35-17 in their own jamboree game, losing to Douglas for the first time since 2012.
Well, that's what happens. You got to go, hey, it's like golf. Sometimes it drives you to drink. And, hey, man, as much as we just talked about the willingness to win and do, more to make it more competitive around here in LPS, I think he took it a little bit too far.
Don't get drunk at a high school jamboree
when you're trying to do some scouting.
Well, let alone if you're trying to do
maybe
some
the team was so good he was going to play. It's like, man, I don't know what we're going to do. Maybe he got a little scared.
Raph says, boom, G-ville in the news. He says, also shout out the Douglas Eagles. Raph, remind us your connections to Douglas and to Guntersville down there in Alabama. The other option then, Jay, this just popped up this morning. Art Briles had a 6-year contract from Texas on the table to replace Mac Brown back in 2014. Yeah. Baylor loses to UCF in the Fiesta Bowl. And Art Briles says, nope, no thanks, I'm good. To Texas, backs out of the contract that they were going to meet him in Phoenix to sign the day after the bowl. Briles tells On3, we had beat Texas 3 of the last 4 years, and we're getting good recruits. I had unfinished business at Baylor. I felt like the bowl loss had let the team and the university down. It's crazy stuff that drives into you as a coach because I've always kind of been a stayer. I wanted to beat Texas. I wanted to beat Oklahoma, Nebraska, A&M, and all those people in the Big 12 at the time.
Well, you stayed a little bit too long. Then all hell breaks loose. Now you're just a pariah, right? You never coach again, right?
Do you know where he's coaching right now?
He's over overseas somewhere, right?
Division II, Eastern New Mexico.
He's at that's big for him.
Yeah.
I mean,
he's still stateside.
Yeah, because he was overseas somewhere, right?
Somewhere, I think.
He's gonna take some job over there. But I mean, obviously the man loves the coach. I'm assuming and hoping he has some regret about what he was, whether, somewhat of a part of that happened at Baylor. Obviously, he's, probably never going to coach at the major Division I at any position level ever again. I mean, it was to the point that, remember, his son-in-law at Oklahoma was taking some heat for his association with him, and maybe even had him on the sidelines, right?
I think so at one point.
Yeah. So I mean, that's it. Coaching's in his blood. Obviously, he's been held accountable for it, but he's definitely sticking around the game. I mean, John Gruden is as well. I don't think John Gruden was guilty of too much, but look, when you love the game of football, you're going to try to find a way to be connected to it.
Bobby Petrino would be the other name that comes to mind.
And he's in Bobby Petrino is I'm not even going to say what I'm going to say because of some of the other stuff, the decision that's been made around here. I'm just saying, if Bobby Petrino, now, you know what? I'm going to keep my mouth shut.
Big year for Bobby Petrino, North Carolina. Got a lot riding on for him and his head coach.
Bobby Petrino was riding all right.
Was he
Arkansas? He's riding out. Oh, man. You know what, man? It's crazy, man. It's just some dudes just be just stuff handed to him. And he's a good play caller. But here's
that's all we have to say on the man. He's a good play caller.
But just look how he's handled this business, though. Head coach of the Atlanta Falcons, doesn't even address the team, essentially quits the
NFL,
quits on the team and leaves a note on their like stools.
Like it's middle school.
Yeah.
Like you're breaking up with your high school girlfriend.
Right. And then gets another head coaching job. And Arkansas does decent. Jacks that up for off the field stuff. And then gets hired. Then he went back to Louisville.
Yeah. Rules for thee, but not for me.
Yes, sir.
We'll go ahead and go to break. Let's hear from some coaches who are on the up and up. Nebraska football coaches Brett Maher, Corey Brown, and Jeep Way, doing things the right way. No concerns about public intoxication at high school jamborees or motorcycles with office associates. We'll hear from Nebraska's high character coaches after this.
You're listening to Old School with Jay Foreman and Austin Orman. Download the mobile app and listen wherever you are on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet. KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Salt Mine City is your go-to brewery in the Haymarket for craft beers and great food. Enjoy a full menu of great items daily for lunch and dinner, like their Big Fatty 7-ounce hamburger or a Reuben sandwich served on Blackstone rye bread. And don't forget their beef or chicken nachos with guacamole, sour cream, jalapenos, and more. Wash it down with one of their 12 beers on tap, including the popular Single Axle Light American Lager. Salt Mine City, now open 2 p.m. Monday through Thursday and 11 a.m. Friday through Sunday at 8th and R.
Visit any part of Southeast Nebraska, and you've seen the impact of an SEC grad. At Southeast, we're redefining the community college experience. You'll do more than build a career. You'll build the place you call home. At SCC Grad had an expert who did more to build them up, to focus their drive, to shape their resolve. Southeast Community College. Let's do more.
Your friends with ArcLight Solutions here in Lincoln would like to take this time out to thank our first responders, doctors, nurses, and the healthcare professionals who put their lives in harm's way for our protection. Blood donation centers need people to donate blood. Be a silent hero and donate blood today. It will help accident victims, surgery patients, sick children, and members of the military. This message from ArcLight Solutions here in Lincoln, specializing in all your IT consulting needs.
Hi, Sean Callahan here with Coppell Chevrolet GMC, and new Sierra and Silverado trucks continue to roll in, and August is a great time to upgrade. Right now, get new GMC Sierras for under $50,000, or get 2.9% financing for 72 months plus $1,500 bonus cash. Visit us in Louisville or anytime at coppellcars.com. Stock number G306367 with approved credit.
Big value and big flavor meet at Wings and Rings thanks to the all-new delicious Duo Combo. This is the one you've been waiting for. Get one half-sized appetizer and 2 entrees with a side for only $19.99. Bring a friend for the best deal in town on any day of the week, during game time, or whenever the heck you want. Their made-to-order wings and chicken sandwiches are waiting for you at their 68th and O and 40th and Old Cheney locations. Stop by Wings and Rings and celebrate every day with the best meal deal in town.
Big box stores are tempting for buying equipment for your high schooler in sports or for yourself in your sports leisures. But buying new is awfully expensive. Why not go somewhere with new and used options? Play It Again Sports has quality, slightly to gently used equipment, and 50% of their inventory is actually new equipment. It's more than baseball, softball, and golf. They also have equipment for disc golf, fitness, hockey, and more. Plus, they're always buying products. Bring your gear that you're done with and get trade money on the spot. Play It Again Sports at 48th and Vine.
Lincoln's go-to for fun isn't new. It's a place that's been a staple of the city for years and is only getting better. Matson's Bowling and Billiards always has open bowling available with no long lines, unlike other centers. They have live music almost every weekend and great food at EJ's Bar and Lounge, with seating for 150 people. They have popular meals like the EJ Burger, pizza for the whole family, and famous EJ's Wings. Contact Sarah to book a party for friends, coworkers, or family at Matson's Bowling and Billiards, just south of 48th and Holdridge.
Hey, Jake, you know what I love almost as much as the Big Red?
Big scores on the field?
Good guess, but nope.
Big spikes on the court?
Love those too, but I'm thinking food. Like those big, budget-friendly portions you find at Buzzard Billy's.
Now you're talking. I love Buzzard Billy's. I love the shrimp po' boys and the blackened chicken.
You almost always find me enjoying gumbo.
Big plays, big scores, big wins, Big Red. Yep, love them all, especially
those big portions that are budget-friendly. Only at Buzzard Billy's, A-Market.
Get the last roof you'll ever need with steel roofing from Menards. Steel roofing provides your home with the best protection from wind, hail, and fire. Choose from 29 stylish colors to enhance your home's appearance. Available in cut-to-length panels that cover a large area for fast installation. White and bright, white pro-rib steel roofing are on sale now through August 23rd. Plus, shop our weekly flyer on Menards.com for all the great deals happening now.
Save big money at Menards.
Next time you have a heating or cooling problem, plumbing or electrical issue, just one call to Bryant takes care of everything. 467-1111. Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Meet your new obsession, the Amigos Crunchadilla. Not a burrito, not a quesadilla. The Crunchadilla is a salsa tortilla filled with a unique blend of quesadilla flavors, then crisped to perfection for a crunch you'll crave. Loaded with melty cheese, crispy tortilla strips, and of course, Amigos' famous ranch. Get your choice of 4 boldly flavored meats, like Southwest chicken or chorizo, all topped with bacon. Crispy, craveable, and made to crush your hunger. The Crunchadilla, only at Amigos. Amigos value meals are getting an upgrade with more of the bold, fresh flavors you love. Now we have 9 options for only $5, $6, or $7. With fries and a small drink, these are full meals for a small price. There's something for everyone with the new Chicken Ranchero Burrito or Quesadilla Snackers. Even Amigos favorites like the soft meat burrito or crisp pinto are now in value meals. With a deal this good, we'll be seeing you all the time at Amigos.
For remote starters, audio upgrades, and more, there's only one place to go. Auto Sounds of Lincoln at 48th and O.
Coming at you live from the heart of downtown Lincoln. This is Old School with Foreman and Orman. Nebraska Football Hall of Famer Jay Foreman.
Here's Troy Detmer dropping straight back in the pocket. Rifles a pass. It was tipped. It's picked off by Foreman. He's at the 15, 10, 5. He'll score! Foreman got it, and it's touchdown Huskers.
Black shirts, answer the call one more time.
And Austin Orman. Old School with Foreman and Orman is sponsored by Graham Tire Company of Lincoln. your tire store next door with 4 Lincoln locations. Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome in hour 2 of Old School. We'll spend this hour on a lot of Nebraska football topics, including hearing from assistant coaches Brett Maher, Corey Brown, and Deep Wade. Want to give a big thank you to Graham Tire Company for their sponsorship of Old School. More than just tires, they do all kinds of car and light truck repairs too. From brakes to oil changes, trust Graham Tire for service you can count on. Graham Tire, getting you to the places that matter most. Big thanks to the folks at Graham Tire for helping me with my thermostat in my car over the last couple of weeks. Check engine light is finally off. Car is running smooth. Could not have done it without the help from the good folks over there at Graham Tire. All right, Jay, let's dive into what some Husker football coaches had to say. Let's go ahead and start with Brett Maher and special teams. He was the first one to speak yesterday. And there's a lot that he had to say. I know you talk a lot about the value of special teams, the importance of it, especially and sometimes including if you're a starter. So Brett Maher was asked, what kind of access does he have to the starters right now for Nebraska on offense and defense? How many of those guys are playing special teams?
Right now, we are playing, best at position, but we're also mindful of, guys' legs and all of that. So it's kind of I don't have a great answer for you at this point, and what that is going to look like. What I know is we have a bunch of guys on our team that want to go play at the next level, and they understand that they're going to have special teams value for the most part at that next level. So whether they're actually going to be playing for us or not on Saturdays, the work that they do in our individual periods, our technique periods, is really, really cool to see. And we get the whole team doing that.
Hey, no lies told, man. I mean, I think a lot of guys and look, this is the way the team's built or the way college football is right now, especially for the young guys or inexperienced guys or guys that have, in theory, been portaled over or recruited over, that in order for you to get your chance on the field or an offense or defense, you got to, really invest in special teams. And Brett's 100% right. I mean, every rookie that comes in as, a draft pick, and obviously if you're a number 1 draft pick, sometimes second, and quarterbacks don't really fit into this, but you better play special teams. I've scouted for Houston and done some different things, for the Houston Texans and media-wise and obviously upstairs. And that's one of the biggest things that they look for when they go evaluate guys. What's his special teams experience? Is he willing to play special teams? Is he a factor on special teams? It's because they feel like they can coach you up and help you to become a better special teams player. That's the difference between maybe getting drafted or getting a shot, a legit, or getting drafted, at some point. And then furthermore, extending your career. So your career is not going to start in the NFL until you show that you can play or be a contributor, at least into 2 of the phases. That's offense or defense, and then obviously special teams. And, some of these guys, it's good that I think Coach Rule has said that he, I felt like it wasn't there with Scott, but I think Coach Rule is making an emphasis. Obviously, that's, one of the big reasons that, he brought in Eckler and all this other stuff after the first 2 years of struggling, not a little bit, a lot of bit. And same thing with Brett. And look, how you play on special teams goes in your evaluation on offense or defense. And it's a big deal. It's even a bigger deal this year because, Eckler left and you have, Brett's the coach. The younger guys, like kind of the assistant coach or kind of like a coach in waiting. I don't know what the, but Brett's that, special teams coach. He's got to command the room. He's got to be, demand the room. He's got to be commander and a leader. And then obviously guys have to buy into the point to not only to be on special teams, be viable options, and replace the leadership they lost in some of their seniors last year. Javen Wright was a big contributor. Buford was, Booker. All those guys have contributed on special teams. And so you have to replace that, but guys got to step up and be invested in it as well.
Maher was also asked, are you sensing any extra motivation from some of those younger guys to step up on special teams? Here's Brett Maher's answer.
I can't tell you that I've specifically notice that. I think that's, could be a good observation. Again, we've got a bunch of guys that want to play, and has that opened up the, you can only play so many games and now it kind of doesn't matter probably. But what I've noticed is a bunch of guys that want to go out there, practice hard, learn their craft, figure out how they can contribute to the team. And that's kind of special teams coordinator's dream.
Yeah, I mean, look, you want the young guys to really embrace it and go out there and lay it on the line. It's the only way you learn. I mean, I always talk about that picture out there, or it's somewhere in here where we're playing up in Colorado, and the whole kickoff return, the guys that are started or were starters at that time, and then really main contributors. I think the only one a true quote unquote special teams guy was Aaron Penland. Well, there you go. Was Aaron Penland as good as Terrell Farley? Nope. Was he as good as probably Ryan Twilliger? Maybe so. Most likely not. You know what I'm saying? But he was the best special teams player on our team. I think Jacquez Green felt his wrath in Florida with that year, and put him out the game. But Aaron Penland was the only guy out there. So if you're a young guy, there's been a lot of players that have came through here, old and present, that have played special teams and made their way on special teams. So it's up to you to continue to do so. And it's good to see young guys willingly to go out there and be contributors and want to be a big factor in the team's success.
Brett Maher was asked this question. I want to get your opinion before we hear from him. What's the difference between good special teams and bad special teams?
Discipline, number one.
What do you mean by discipline? How does that manifest?
Well, I mean, it could be as simple as, well, like we talked about a few years ago when Nebraska went up there against Michigan State, right? It was supposed to be your right kick and you kick it left, right? Or
is that discipline or is that just execution?
The discipline enough to execute it the right way.
Okay.
It's kind of the chicken and the egg. It all goes in there. If you don't have discipline, you ain't executing nothing. Well, I mean, I think, of course I think it's special teams is no different than offense or defense, except for you're not, throwing the ball or whatever on a, down and down out basis. I think it just comes down to, toughness. It comes down to speed. It comes down to want to. You got to be a team player, because a lot of times, and you have to be willing to rise to the moment. So, I mean, it's good special teams are easy and fun to watch. A really good special teams team are really fun to watch, and they're enjoyable to watch. A bad special teams team is you want to go to the bathroom when they get, because you just don't want to see it, or you don't want to stomach it, or
they might make you have to go to the bathroom because you can't
send it to the bathroom, and it too. It's a good special teams team doesn't cause you any stress when you're watching the game.
Just another snap.
Yeah, because you know what to expect. You're going to get good, honest day's work. They're going to get the returns. They're going to make one or two big plays. They're going to have a big play on special teams could be down in the ball inside the 10.
Yeah. Heck of a 35-yard punt.
They can execute all the things you need to do. You can directional kick. You can middle kick. You can middle return. You can directional return. You can run trick plays. You can do all that. You can defend all those as well.
Yeah.
And and the best thing about a good special team, you can answer the bell if you give up a big play. You know what? You're going to take it as a slap in the face. Now we got to get it back. Sometimes you get special teams, they give a big play. The next thing you fumble a punt. Then you slice a kick. Then it's just
then you take kickoff return back to the 18-yard line, opposed to 28-yard line.
Yeah, and all that. The next thing you know, then you look at all the negative yards, and the offense isn't outputting, and the defense is in a bad position. And it all starts with special teams.
Here was Brett Maher's answer. What is the difference between good and bad special teams?
In the NFL, I don't think the difference between good and bad is very much at all in any single phase, offense, defense, Super Bowl champ to first round draft pick. There are dudes everywhere, right? And I think that's the same on special teams. It's a couple plays here, it's a couple plays there. In college, I think just by the nature of how everything is, you can see more talent gaps, right, than you do in the NFL because there's more players. The pool is bigger. I still think it comes down to how can you have explosive plays and how can you mitigate explosive plays against you, whether it's a turnover, giving up a big return, or figuring out, what's a returnable ball? How are we going to capitalize when we get that opportunity and not forcing your hand on that opportunity? And that's where I think the differences are at both levels, really.
Let's move on and hear some from Jeep Wade, Nebraska football offensive line coach, and we'll wrap up by hearing from Corey Brown, the defensive line coach. Jeep Wade doesn't view competition as position battles. It's how does he get the best players out there, as we heard Evan say. Here's that quote from Jeep Wade.
I don't look at it as like a battle. I look at it as like I'm trying to get 8 guys go win the Big Ten, and play them anywhere. Like Black's played some center, Gutula's played right guard, you know what I mean? So I'm trying to get the best 5 out there at all times for Nebraska, and that's my job. It's not like, okay, you're the backup guard, you're going in. No, we're trying to find 8 guys that can go play winning football, Big Ten football for us. And, we're not there yet. I think we got a plan to do that, but we got to go do it.
That's always interesting to hear for me, Jay, because on the one hand, I think knowing your position, knowing where you're going to play leads to a comfortability factor. You know what's expected of you. On the flip side, positional versatility helps you get on the field, right? If you can be that swing guard center, if you can be that swing guard tackle, whatever it looks like, always good to have more tools in the belt, but it's also good to hone your skills and get comfortable at one spot sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, I think that all will come together organically. You know what I'm saying? And, it's one of those things that, you like you said, you need 8 guys. You need a couple guys that are versatile, and that's also with your starters. So say you have a guy that primarily is in a young guy in this case, I'm just thinking just, a generic case, or hadn't played that much, that he's like generally a tackle. Mm-hmm. Well, if you have a versatile enough, and he mentioned Gutula and he mentioned Black, that, that he can switch positions for a game or however long they need him to, and then plug in another player so you don't lose any production and have your best 5 out there. And that's what he's looking for. He's looking for his best 5 to go out there. And then obviously the 3 that kind of make those 5, even better. Look, when we're really rolling here in Nebraska at times, and this is even after I was there. You had guys that came in. Matt Hoskinson played a lot. Josh Heskew came in some. And that's on the pipeline 1 and pipeline 2. Mm-hmm. Aaron Taylor came in and subbed in on the original pipeline. Then obviously he was the bell cow, or him and Aaron Graham took the next one in 95. So you always got to have depth there. And ideally, sure, in people's minds, you think, oh man, we can, have, you're starting 5 and then just roll out there, and then you just bowl over people. But every good offensive line, you generally have 8 to 9 good guys.
We got this from Jacob on our Starter Heyman Jewelers text line. It says, I think about 2 years ago against Northern Iowa, when Nebraska was clearly lacking in the trenches, I think if there's improvement, we'll be able to see it right away. I asked Evan that question, and I'll ask you as well. How much will you be able to judge the success or improvement of Nebraska's offensive line in the non-conference? Again, without making too much or too little of who the opponents are in the non-conference, what are you watching for the offensive line to show you that will give you optimism, hope, promise heading into when they face, more consistently bigger, faster, stronger guys in the Big Ten?
Just continuity. You look at, everybody moving together like a herd of cattle or whatever. Mm-hmm. And what I mean by that is I always talk about linebacker play, footwork, and, when you run against counter plays, inside, outside zone, both the linebackers essentially should be tied at a string. That's what you want to see with the offensive line. You want to see them on guys, moving guys. Obviously, we'll be bigger and stronger than the first 3 opponents that we play. So you want to see a good, decent push and consistency. Obviously, you don't want any penalties or very, very low amount of, procedure penalties or any holding penalties or anything like that. You won't be able to really evaluate them until they, face a game opponent. And most likely, sure, Michigan State and Maryland will definitely be a step up from the non-con. But obviously, Indiana has got one of the best defensive lines in the nation, not just the Big Ten, in the nation, depth-wise, production-wise, player-wise, and schematic-wise. Mm-hmm. That's going to be his first huge test. And so you're working towards that. But the first 3 games, number one, his offensive line looks different. Mm-hmm. It's probably the most different-looking offensive line, if you know what I mean, in Nebraska's history. Mm-hmm. It's the modern-day Soul Patrol. That's what it is. That's what it is. It's the modern day Soul Patrol. And Gunnar Gutula and Black and Sledge and Pile or whatever. You better get those old school Public Enemy African medallions. That's how y'all run it that's how you roll it to the games.
Really comfortable eating your collard greens.
That's right. You better start. Listen, you got that nice facilities over there.
Not just salt and pepper at the cookout.
Yeah, you better start seasoning your meat. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I think they've invested in the offensive line, and look, they when they play together, they can get rolling. And it's just the point that you feel like you got a Big Ten offensive line. But I mean, like I said, I'll go back to last year. You don't run for what 1,500 yards, whatever Emmett ran for 1,800 yards from scrimmage without having a viable offensive line. Now, I think that the guys that were the younger pups last year have really progressed under Jeep. That's where I think he's made the biggest impact. I think he's improved that depth. And obviously, it's a byproduct of what was laid last year, but he's getting a more mature version of those young pups, and it's helping out the veterans.
You mentioned the continuity. We'll hear about that from Jeep Wade here in just a second. I'll throw this out there, too, as we talk about the offensive line in the non-conference. If you're knocking guys back 5 yards in non-conference, that's probably, 2.5 yards in the Big Ten? But if you're knocking guys back 2.5 yards in the non-conference, then you're hoping for a stalemate in the Big Ten.
I mean, look, Ohio's been known to have good defenses. I know they lost a lot, and obviously had the issue with their coach last year. So they're trying to still uphold their standard that they usually play in. The first game generally is the hardest. I mean, we saw it against Cincinnati. I felt like, even though we were able to run the ball effectively, but it was a hard fought, running game night for them. And so, look, you got to expect their best effort. You got to expect Bowling Green with Eddie George, who has continued to kind of grow that program to be, get up to be successful, that they're going to come in and be tough. I think his son is one of the defensive ends or, edges, I guess, if you want to call it that, on their team. So they'll be tough. They're fit. He's trying to make a physical team, kind of embody him. So it's not just going to be just blowing guys off it's not going to be Houston Christian. No. But you want to see, some progress. You want to see them be able to consistently, and obviously I'd hope it would be like close to 100% win third and short, control the clock, and try to just grind some games out. Of course, after you do that, everybody said, why didn't you score enough points? But I think the more that you can get familiar with playing Big Ten football, when you have to play Big Ten football, it's second nature.
Well, we've talked about this a little bit, and there's another piece from ESPN coming out that I want to get into at some point too. The best offenses that you would traditionally think of, your Ohio States, your Oregons, et cetera, have leaned away from foot on the gas, we got to go fast, got to score 40 points every game, to game control. Games are being played slower. There are fewer drives. There are fewer, more plays per drive, essentially, right? It's been more what you would think of as traditional Big Ten smash mouth, ball control football, even from the top teams. Now they find ways to stretch out their advantages, but the offensive line obviously plays a big part in that. Let's hear one more from Jeep Wade and a couple from Corey Brown pretty quick before we get to break. Here's Jeep Wade. What's gotten better since the spring as a unit for the offensive line?
I think just the mentality, the discipline to fight through adversity. There's going to be adversity every day in something, whether, coach rules, changing the periods on them and changing around and making them, just off the cuff of stuff. And, and then there's going to be days where you feel good. Today I walked in, it's Bloody Tuesday. Hey, let's get that mentality start. We cannot waste a day, and if you don't feel good, you got to have the switch upstairs to come in the same day every day, because this is where we'll win and lose football games. So I think the mentality, I think they have some confidence, which I want them to have confidence. But I just think the work ethic and the mentality of, listen, if it's not perfect and I strain and I compete, then I have a chance for it to be okay. Then we can live, and then, hey, play the next play. So that's kind of something that we've been working towards.
That's Nebraska offensive line coach Jeep Wade. Let's go ahead and hear from Nebraska interior defensive line coach Corey Brown. Where has that group improved the most since spring, and what are some of those improvements? Here's Corey Brown.
One, I think as far as their bodies, getting their bodies in shape, I think Ms. Chris, the nutrition coach, Campbell, this guy, they do a great job getting their bodies ready. And then as it pertains to technique, really just knowing how they can anchor down, that they put themselves in position to do this. And then the transition pass rush is really huge. Sometimes conference is a little bit different, but in my opinion, you got to be a great transition pass rusher inside. It's not always you're going to be in that third and long situation to be with the wide alignment, attacking and working this, elite pass rush move. A lot of times it's going to be hands inside, transitioning from there. So they've gotten better, at being strong with their hands, working snatches and disengages to be better transition pass rushers.
Take the layperson through what Corey Brown was talking about with the improvements.
Yeah, I mean, look, you want your team to obviously progress through the offseason. So, you had an early spring, so it allowed Nebraska to really attack their, mentality, and then obviously physicality that they're able to develop in and out of the weight room. And, he's talking about that. He's talking about, you got to be able to play Big Ten football. You got to be able to anchor in there. Talk about secondary pass rush, because that's really generally when you get in pass rush, when you're playing against really good opponents, you're not necessarily always going to win on your first move. You got to be able to, counterattack, and obviously, have continuous effort to get to the quarterback. And obviously it starts and stops with stopping the run. You got to be big and strong and physical to do so. So that's what they're working on right now, day in and day out, to be consistent. Not when it's like in the first quarter, the second, third, and fourth quarter, when it really gets tight and people start making adjustments or they start to crank up their intensity. Can you answer the bell? But then also, can you rise and strive into the occasion? And that's what they're trying to do.
One more from Corey Brown before we go to break. Growth for Riley Van Poppel, obviously a pretty keen name throughout the course of the offseason. Here's what Corey Brown had to say on Riley Van Poppel.
I would say finish, man. That's definitely something that he knows. And, you don't get a chance to sometimes tackle live all the time throughout camp. But when you are in like a third tackle situation for a defensive lineman, it's really the next best thing. You have to take that extra step to be in good position, to near foot, near shoulder, thud a guy up. You can do it in an individual drill, but putting in a team setting, that'll be the thing that carries over, to a game setting. So I think he understands it, he knows it. And then the next facet for everybody, like I say, is being a good pass rusher as well. And the stronger he is with his hands and being consistent with his hand placement, that's going to allow him to, be a dude in that, transition pass rush mode. And then along those lines, as always, you should always, if you don't get to the quarterback, be able to affect it with match hands. And that's something I think he can get done on a consistent basis. But that is going into how detailed he is in his rush lanes to the cue, and then finishing if he doesn't get there with that match hand.
Yeah, I mean, with Riley, I think that's where, that's every D lineman. That's the difference between, when you talk about guys that need, that take a big step or need to take a big step, it's honing in on those skills, which is essentially just named all the fundamentals that you need to be effective defensive lineman, not only in the Big Ten, but, high school ranks or the, NFL. And so that's what he's probably wanting to see, just more on a consistent basis. And he's talking about finish. That means you got to learn how to finish things in practice, so it's second nature in the game. And that's how you just, once you get guys that know how to practice like a pro, finish every single play, that's where the consistency starts, and that's where you start to see the fruits of their labor start to show out on Saturdays or whenever Nebraska has games.
A lot of Saturdays and a couple Fridays as well. Appreciate Eric and Big B in with some stuff on our Sartor Heyman Jewelers text line. We'll go to break. We'll talk more Nebraska football throughout the course of hour 2 of Old School, brought to you by Graham Tire, right after this.
Watch Old School live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Hey, Jake, you know what I love almost as much as the Big Red?
Big scores on the field?
Good guess, but nope.
Big spikes on the court?
I love those too, but I'm thinking food. Like those big, budget-friendly portions you find at Buzzard Billy's.
Now you're talking. I love Buzzard Billy's. I love the shrimp po' boys and the blackened chicken.
You almost always find me enjoying gumbo.
Big plays, big scores, big wins, Big Red. Yep, love them all, especially
those big portions that are budget-friendly. Only at Buzzard Billy's, A-Market.
Big box stores are tempting for buying equipment for your high schooler in sports or for yourself in your sports leisures. But buying new is awfully expensive. Why not go somewhere with new and used options? Played Against Sports has quality, slightly to gently used equipment, and 50% of their inventory is actually new equipment. It's more than baseball, softball, and golf. They also have equipment for disc golf, fitness, hockey, and more. Plus, they're always buying products. Bring your gear that you're done with and get trade money on the spot. Played Against Sports at 48th and Vine.
Next time you have a heating or cooling problem, plumbing or electrical issue, just one call to Bryant takes care of everything. 467-1111. Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Lincoln's go-to for fun isn't new. It's a place that's been a staple of the city for years and is only getting better. Matson's Bowling and Billiards always has open bowling available with no long lines, unlike other centers. They have live music almost every weekend and great food at EJ's Bar and Lounge, with seating for 150 people. They have popular meals like the EJ Burger, pizza for the whole family, and famous EJ's Wings. Contact Sarah to book a party for friends, coworkers, or family at Matson's Bowling and Billiards, just south of 48th and Holdridge.
Hi, Sean Callahan here with Koppel Chevrolet GMC, and new Sierra and Silverado trucks continue to roll in, and August is a great time to upgrade. Right now, get new GMC Sierras for under $50,000 or get 2.9% financing for 72 months plus $1,500 bonus cash. Visit us in Louisville or anytime at koppelcars.com. Stock number G306367 with approved credit.
If you're seeking a career with a growing company, Gaina Trucking and Excavating is hiring and looking for additions to their team. Gaina Trucking has a strong team culture, competitive pay, 401ks, and benefits like health, dental, and vision. Drivers are guaranteed 40 hours per week, even in the winter months, and are home every night. Start your career today at Gaina Trucking and Excavating. Apply today at gainatrucking.com.
Friends with MedElite Urgent Care in Lincoln remind you that the need for blood continues daily. Unfortunately, our blood banks are extremely low. Our community and our country depend on life-saving donors like you. You are eligible to donate every 56 days, and with each donation, you save up to 3 lives. Please go online and schedule an appointment to donate blood today. Thanks to MedElite Urgent Care in Lincoln for making this message possible. ER skills without the ER bills. Check them out today.
Meet your new obsession, the Amigos Crunchadilla. Not a burrito, not a quesadilla. The Crunchadilla is a salsa tortilla filled with a unique blend of quesadilla flavors, then crisped to perfection for a crunch you'll crave. Loaded with melty cheese, crispy tortilla strips, and of course, Amigos' famous ranch. Get your choice of 4 boldly flavored meats, like Southwest chicken or chorizo, all topped with bacon. Crispy, craveable, and made to crush your hunger. The Crunchadilla, only at Amigos. Amigos value meals are getting an upgrade with more of the bold, fresh flavors you love. Now we have 9 options for only $5, $6, or $7. With fries and a small drink, these are full meals for a small price. There's something for everyone with the new Chicken Ranchero Burrito or Quesadilla Snackers. Even Amigos favorites like the Soft Meat Burrito or Crisp Pinto are now in value meals. With a deal this good, we'll be seeing you all the time at Amigos.
Good work, good people, good community. That's what Schweizer Construction is built on. For over 40 years, we've been constructing commercial spaces across Lincoln and showing up for the community long after the last brick is laid. We're growing our team, and we're looking for hardworking people who want to be part of something that they're proud of. Come build with us at schwizo.com. That's SCHWISOW.com.
Get the last roof you'll ever need with steel roofing from Menards. Steel roofing provides your home with the best protection from wind, hail, and fire. Choose from 29 stylish colors to enhance your home's appearance. Available in cut-to-length panels that cover a large area for fast installation. White and bright, white pro-rib steel roofing are on sale now through August 23rd. Plus, shop our weekly flyer on Menards.com for all the great deals happening now.
Save big money at Menards.
New from Arbor Axe House comes Benny's Battle Barge, the mobile axe throwing adventure. Perfect for festivals, parties, fundraisers, and celebrations. Charter the barge at arbораxe.com or call Arbor Axe House at 402-802-9696. Arbor Axe House at the corner of N Street and Antelope Valley.
Back to Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket.
Welcome back in. It is Old School. He's Jay Foreman. I'm Austin Norman. Old School brought to you in part by the good folks over at Schweizo Construction. At Schweizo Construction, safety isn't just a policy, it's a promise. Schweizo is hiring skilled craftsmen, laborers, concrete workers, and steel erectors who value quality work and a team that has your back on and off the job site. Apply today at schweizo.com. 40-plus years strong in business. Schweizo Construction. 402-464-5685, the number to the Starter Heyman Jewelers text line if you want to be a part of the show. Jay, we got some numbers from WOWT up in Omaha regarding ticket sales for Nebraska football. They put this out a couple of days ago, and their numbers showed that Nebraska football is still 10,000 tickets short of sellouts. You might think, oh, non-conference, okay, not marquee opponents.
Is that each game or just?
For at least Indiana and Ohio State, Nebraska is still 10,000 tickets shy of a sellout, and obviously that's mid-October and in late November.
But the first 3 are sold out?
I can find the numbers here somewhere in my stack of tabs. I'll go through that. But I just think it's fascinating that those are 2 marquee games Nebraska fans aren't exactly lining up to buy the tickets for. And I think that goes to part of what you were talking about, continuing the conversation yesterday about tradition, about brand, about Nebraska football against the AP top 25. Normally, that should be, you would think, a top 25 versus top 25 game in both cases. But the fact that the fans haven't bought those tickets, either they're too expensive, or it leans to the apathy, the disinterest, or the lack of faith that Nebraska has a legitimate chance to pull an upset. Normally, you'd think those are games that people would be lined up out the door for, to show up for. Hey, we get a chance to knock off a top team, but it's going to be, more than 10 years since Nebraska beat just a top 25 team, let alone a top 5, top 10, top 15 team, that fans aren't even lining up for the opportunity to see that Nebraska might pull off an upset against one of them.
Yeah, I think it'll remedy itself as you get closer to the game. I mean, obviously, I think Nebraska will start off well, and so that'll take care of itself. And then also, I think that those teams that generally would travel well too, right? So, I mean, it's not just Nebraska fans, but ideally, you like to have every game sold out, but that's just part of where you're at right now. It's not anything to be alarmed about. I think you can go and control your own destiny. I think you start winning games and playing well, then people will start to make their way to the ticket office and get some tickets. But then more importantly, you also know that other teams are going to be more excited to play Nebraska because Nebraska would be a game opponent. So, hopefully the sellout streak will continue to, carry on. But, ultimately, sure. I mean, I think, people are concerned about it just because people are concerned about the football program. And, look, the program has improved, since, Coach Rule has taken over. There's no doubt about that. Now, where the program's at it's nowhere. It should never be where it was and where you have to steadily improve it. Now, college football and the way it's changed and how you start is kind of where you are right now. Now, I think everybody's, when you think about it, last year the team was better, probably needed to take I would say it was set up for Nebraska to take 2.5 steps forward last year.
Mm-hmm.
The Minnesota game and probably maybe the Penn State game, in theory, based on the coach being fired, was the 2 missed opportunities. And that's just, you can't go back and change it. So, so that maybe that had an effect on it. But then also I think is at this point where, you had the magical run for baseball, volleyball, or excuse me, volleyball, basketball, baseball, and softball for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And then now people are slowly but surely getting into football mode. I think as we get through this week and next week, hopefully that number will dwindle down, but then more importantly, the excitement will come back.
The numbers from WOWT, this was as of about a week ago. For all 7 home games that Nebraska has, the fewest amount of tickets sold right now would be the Maryland game. You're still over 72,000 for that. The highest for a home game is about 74,400, and that's actually for North Dakota. And I do
So hold on, I don't mean to cut you off. So that means like for every home game, you're still down $10,000. I mean, not 10,000. Like how many? Is that 8? Like how many are
like
you?
86,000 total, and you're at between 72 and 74 for every.
So for every game, you're down
10 to 12,000.
10 to 12,000 tickets every game.
Yeah.
Yeah. We gotta get it started because then the most important is the first game.
Yeah. Ohio right now 74,255 sold.
And what's our maximum? What's technically a sellout?
86 something
for a sellout.
Yeah.
Dang, that's how many people are getting Nebraska. They weren't that many when I was there. They started adding on seats, right?
They did. Yeah.
Yeah. You're welcome. Yeah, you better get going. We gotta call some of the farmers. We're gonna start getting some caravans going.
And I do like what Nebraska's done. If it's, hey, if you buy a ticket for one of these big games, you get a reduced rate, or get a couple for some of these early games as well. I mean, I think those are good ways to make the tickets accessible to more and more people. We got a text from Denny and Moville. Lack of faith in the team is why those games are not sold out. I'm sure the reseeding, which I know is happening and not happening, and all the construction going on certainly plays into that as well. But Jay, when we talked yesterday about the uniforms a little bit and the AP poll and, the excitement, the buzz, the tradition, the thing you mess with, you don't. It's just sobering to see that, maybe it's time. All good things come to an end, right? Don't cry because it's over, smile because it happened. No matter if or when the sellout streak does officially go away, it still happened. It can still be a huge point of pride for Nebraska fans that they showed up for every game from the 60s through then. And it's going to be close. It's not like it's going to die with 40,000 people in the stand, right? Husker fans are still going to be there. They're still going to show up. But Jay, I go back to something you said about coaching in the first hour. It's one thing to be there in body. It's another to be there in mind, soul, spirit, invested, locked into the game, and fans. And, every fan base, a lot of fan bases are going to claim, best fan base in college football, this and that. And sure, buying the tickets and, showing up for the most part, like Husker fans have, is certainly a badge of pride. But it's time for I think the fans to make it an intimidating place to play again. But it's chicken and egg. Is it on the fans to provide the environment for the team? Is it on the team to provide the environment for the fans? Nebraska's had bodies for the most part in those seats. Have the minds and the souls and the hearts always been locked in? I'd push back on that.
Yeah, I mean, it's a different fan base right now. I mean, obviously their view of success and what they understand is what they think they know about championship football is drastically different than reality. And it's really it's I guess it's two wrongs. One, you can't talk about championships if you don't know what it looks like, because a lot of these young fans never saw it. That's why they push back on it. It's pretty much, it's pretty much a aggressiveness, disappointment, because they haven't been able to experience it. And when you get underneath it, right? And then reality of it is that that's what they want to view it as success, and their view of success is definitely skewed. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's not like I'm mad at them or whatever. They can't be mad at me or anything like that. And I know what the jerseys are and all that stuff. I mean, I know that Jason was on here later or on later talking about the jerseys. He has some different media guys and they're like quote tweeting it and all that. See, the problem is like people don't do enough listening. And if what Jason, and I can't speak for Jason, but this is what I took of it. If he was saying, if your sole purpose is to come to Nebraska for jerseys, it's not going to work out. It's just part of it. Everybody, we've been doing alternate jerseys since I know I've been here.
Yeah.
Been back since I retired essentially from football, 2008, 2009. So nobody's adverse to change. And so look, the sellout streak in Nebraska, look, they are known as having the best fan base or one of the small top 4 fan bases, and they're definitely not 4 fan bases in the nation, and that will never change. The sellout streak is a part of that. Now, when or if it ever changes, then so be it. But that doesn't change the dynamics around having a great fan base. And look, there's 2 or 3 weeks before the season starts. That could change, and obviously people start to make plans. I think also what you have to look at is people start to make their plans around football a little bit later as far as attending games based on, the time of game, who you're playing, there's, and all this other stuff. And there's a lot of things. School's just getting started, so people haven't really got back into it. So, and it is good that they're doing like package deals, because one of the biggest things, and we see it at the professional ranks, we talk about trying to take a family to a basketball game, trying to take a family to a football game, and even at Nebraska sometimes, is that the amount that it costs just for a game. And if you're able to get a couple more, I mean, actually, the longer you wait, you kind of can come up a little bit as far as like being able to get 2 or 3 games for the price of one.
Well, Willie says that on YouTube. The Ohio State game is $162 per ticket through the university. Maybe that's why they're not selling. Price is an issue, right? Economic realities are what they are. I think that 162 would be a lot easier to stomach, though, if you felt you were going to get return on investment. You're going to have a good time. You're going to be treated to a good show. You felt like you were hopeful going into the game that Nebraska would have a legitimate chance to beat Ohio State. Now, Nebraska starts off well. Nebraska plays well. The 162 might look like a bargain by the time we get to the one home game in November. But while I don't poo-poo away the economic realities, 162 for Nebraska, Ohio State, if it's what the Big Ten wanted it to be when Nebraska joined the conference, 162 for a get-in price for a decent seat is not that bad. But Husker fans, I feel like, don't feel like they're getting the satisfaction of the return of their investment for the 162 more than the 162 itself.
Yeah, I mean, it's all of it goes into it. So, they could be like, all right, I could wait and see where it's at. I mean, the price may go up, price may go down based on, the weather, and where Ohio State and Nebraska is at the time that they play. And so, you really don't worry about games during the season or later in the season. I feel is because Nebraska, if they're handling their business or when they handle their business, then the tickets will definitely get bought up. And the 100%, you're right, $162. Say you bring your wife or girlfriend and or just you two, so that's $350 $50, I guess, assuming taxes included,
Mhm.
right? $350 right there, right? My math is right. So right there, you're $350. You got parking, that's probably another 30 or 40. You want to, so it is a big investment, but also I think, if there was a guarantee that, those days are over. So I think that also as a fan, like you said, if you're really, not questioning fans, but also look, if you want to go and support Nebraska football, go support Nebraska football. That's what you should be doing. And sure, it needs, it needs to be the standard of obviously that you want to make it viable for yourself or willingness to go pay that money. Because you can't say like, well, if we had that product, because the product that you're wanting and is you can't be a part of the fan base that push backs against anytime that you hear the words 80s or 90s.
Right.
That's not. Then that's just honestly, that's just being straight up honest with you. Don't tell me that you want 90s things and you don't want to, or that you don't want to talk about it, but you want 90s things. You're a fan of Nebraska, the ones that are kind of teeter-tottering, go support the team. Understand that they're and it's not, and I'm not okay with, I want Nebraska to be where they should be, right? Where they should. I want Nebraska to be where Nebraska was before I got here, where it was every single year top 10, a bad year they were top 12 if you go back and look at it. Or where there's knocking on the door, then they have the breakthrough. 92 was close. 93 was even better. 94 got the job done. That's what I want Nebraska to be. But if you're going to support the program, because you can, but then also they say Nebraska starts winning, you're like, oh man, I knew they were going to turn it around. Here's my money. You know what I mean? So I encourage everybody to go, support them. And, sometimes it's a little bit hard because the portal, you can't really kind of, in the walk-on programs, trim down so that stuff, there's a lot of different factors that go into it because you're not bringing the towns with you. I mean, Joel Makovic is, I think, from Brainerd or somewhere. People probably have a connection to him, just watching him, the Makovicas, growing up. So.
Lots to get to on that from the Starter Heyman Jewelers text line. We'll get to most of that during break, maybe wrap up the hour with that, but still plenty more to get to in the world of football, some college, some NFL. Of course, we teased this segment yesterday with NFL expansion to the international markets on Roger Goodell's mind. Who are the quarterbacks that we think would be good fits to lead some of those new teams when they pop up, and some key position groups in the NFL. We'll get to that in hour 3 of the show, but we're going to wrap up hour 2, some more college football after this.
You're listening to Old School with Jay Foreman and Austin Orman. Download the mobile app and listen wherever you are on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Perch Merch is your one-stop shop for all your printing and promotional needs in Lincoln, Nebraska. They specialize in screen printing, embroidery, vehicle wraps, window wraps, print collateral, promotional products, and signage. At Perch Merch, they're committed to delivering high-quality products and exceptional customer service. Their experienced team of designers and printing professionals will work with you every step of the way to ensure that your vision is realized. Call for a quote today at 402-217-5212 or go to perchmerch.com.
Meet your new obsession, the Amigos Crunchadilla. Not a burrito, not a quesadilla. The Crunchadilla is a salsa tortilla filled with a unique blend of quesadilla flavors, then crisped to perfection for a crunch you'll crave. Loaded with melty cheese, crispy tortilla strips, and of course, Amigos' famous ranch. Get your choice of 4 boldly flavored meats, like Southwest chicken or chorizo, all topped with bacon. Crispy, craveable, and made to crush your hunger. The Crunchadilla, only at Amigos. Amigos value meals are getting an upgrade with more of the bold, fresh flavors you love. Now we have 9 options for only $5, $6, or $7. With fries and a small drink, these are full meals for a small price. There's something for everyone with the new Chicken Ranchero Burrito or Quesadilla Snackers. Even Amigos favorites like the Soft Meat Burrito or Crisp Pinto are now in value meals. With a deal this good, we'll be seeing you all the time at Amigos.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals just like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait, apply now.
If you're seeking a career with a growing company, Dana Trucking and Excavating is hiring and looking for additions to their team. Dana Trucking has a strong team culture, competitive pay, 401ks, and benefits like health, dental, and vision. Drivers are guaranteed 40 hours per week, even in the winter months, and are home every night. Start your career today at Dana Trucking and Excavating. Apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
New from Arbor Axe House comes Benny's Battle Barge, the mobile axe throwing adventure. Perfect for festivals, parties, fundraisers, and celebrations. Charter the barge at arboraxe.com or call Arbor Axe House at 402-802-9696. Arbor Axe House at the corner of N Street and Antelope Valley.
Are you looking for an exciting new way to put your skills to work? Explore new career options in the fintech industry at Currency, a Sandhills global company. We offer full-time positions in financial sales, compliance, operations, and other fields. We also offer a 4.5-day work week, an attractive benefits package, and opportunities for advancement. Put your motivation to work and grow with us at Currency. Visit gocurrency.com/careers to learn more.
Some moments deserve more than ordinary jewelry. At Sartor Heyman, we've helped Lincoln celebrate life's biggest occasions for over 120 years. With quality craftsmanship, timeless gifts, and diamonds you can see from across the room. From our exclusive Heartland collection to custom design pieces, every detail is made with care by experienced jewelers you can trust. Whether you're celebrating love, family, milestones, Sartor Heyman has a gift for every occasion in life.
Is there anything worse than paying for something that's done half-assed? You buy something, you want it to work, especially when it comes to your internet. When you're trying to stream a movie, work from home, or shop online, half-assed internet doesn't get it done. At Allo Fiber, we don't do anything half-assed. We offer 100% real fiber and real human support that serves the community from the community. So while others may say they have fiber, in the end, there's half-fast fiber, and then there's Allo Fiber. Allo Fiber, internet built for you.
The friends out at CJ's Paintball Park and Airsoft would like to take this time out to thank our first responders, doctors, nurses, and the healthcare professionals who put their lives in harm's way for our protection. Blood donation centers need people to donate blood. Be a silent hero and donate blood today. It will help accident victims, surgery patients, sick children, and members of our military. This message is from CJ's Paintball Park and Airsoft, CJ's Paintball Park and Adventures.
Empower a child today with the Teammates Mentoring Program by building a relationship based on strengths and chart a brighter future 1 week at a time. Find out how you can be a mentor by visiting LincolnTeammates.org. Become what you needed as a kid by joining the Teammates Mentoring Program today.
At Parkview Animal Hospital in Lincoln, it's not just their professional care that sets them apart, but their warm staff and state-of-the-art facilities. Whether it's for a routine checkup or a comprehensive medical procedure, at Parkview, your pet isn't just another number, but a valued member of their caring family. Visit them at pahlincoln.com today and in person just south of 14th and Pine Lake Road. Parkview Animal Hospital, your pet, our passion. For happier, healthier, furry friends.
Back to Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket.
We're wrapping up hour 2 of Old School and full hour to go. Straight ahead here, 402-464-5685 if you want to be a part of the show. Big thanks to our friends at Buffalo Wings and Rings, helping you beat the lunch rush. We'll give you $30 at Buffalo Wings and Rings again tomorrow. Jay, Nebraska is not the only team that has its struggles, issues attracting fans to the stadium, but some numbers coming out of Front Office Sports about Colorado football. The tweet is this from Michael McCarthy, a senior media reporter. The Coach Prime effect has worn off fast for Colorado as a hot college football TV property. ESPN's game telecast showing Deion Sanders' Buffaloes have lost 2/3 of their TV audience since 2023.
Yeah. I mean, look, when you don't have Shedeur Sanders, even Shiloh Sanders, and obviously Travis Hunter, and the newness of, and then obviously parlaying that off of Jackson State.
Yeah.
And the way they exploded, in that first game against TCU, that's just part of it. And unfortunately for them, they've had a dip down after those guys left. I mean, last year was Ali Oxenfree to get payback and, get back other, the hate on Dion or the way they went about their business. And, those guys are often at least Travis Hunter and Shador. It's not just those two. They have quite a few defensive players in the league. They have quite a few, all their receivers, Horn and the other, he was number 14. I think it was Shepard. They're all playing in the NFL. So it wasn't that was an offense. That was an NFL offense there, and so.
Well, that was Amarian Miller.
Yep.
The guy that transferred out.
And he was there.
Headed there.
He was the next one. Mm-hmm. And so you lost all that talent. And then, and obviously everybody was able to get their get back against Colorado, which in reality, you knew that was going to be really, really hard to replicate. You would never be able to replicate that again. And then once their tenure was up, right? Once they went on to the draft and so forth and so on, people were just waiting on the wings to, continue to be mad at Dion. I mean, because all the hate, all the TV, not all of it, but the majority of it came with Dion. He's an iconic figure. He's a big personality, rightfully so. You have to realize he is one of the few players that have ever played the game of football that changed the game.
Yeah.
He's one of the best football players ever to play.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't argue with that.
And not a bad baseball player on the side, making that even more impressive.
So, and then he told you about it too,
mm-hmm.
which, people don't like. Some people, they like it when it's people like Dion. This is the funny thing about it. And this is a kind of there's a little bit of Nebraska to it. I guess I'll be a little petty today. It's Wednesday. Why not? Right.
Yeah, no.
People love the same person they hate right now or tired of. They loved him and liked him when he was at Jackson State
mm-hmm.
because he wasn't in their face. It was in the little leagues. You were at a HBCU. So
he wasn't a threat.
It wasn't a threat. It was cute. Now he came to Colorado, turned things upside down, told you about it, and then continued to win. Now, did he do everything right or how I would do it? No. But has he ever? That's probably why he was as great as he was.
Yeah.
And that's why their viewership goes down. Their team isn't as good as they had been. It's not as appealing or exciting for teams to beat them. They're in the Big 12 now, which is drastically different. And so the Big 12 is not as appealing as the other leagues, and their team isn't very good. So until they start winning more games, they'll be down at the 20, whatever. The viewership would be down.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I still think the fan base is still showing up to games because of the excitement, but I don't think you can't expect that to be year in and year out. It was no way. It was a precursor to Kirk Cignetti coming in there. And then Kirk Cignetti, took it into a whole new stratosphere. And it'll never be replicated again.
No, I think you're right about that. Let's go ahead and talk some NFL in hour 3 of the show. The quarterbacks that we want to lead our international expansion franchises in key position groups that'll influence the regular season and the playoffs, kind of those swing position groups. Got some thoughts? We'll take yours as well. 402-464-5685. Hour 3 of Old School brought to you by Graham Tire continues after this.
Watch Old School live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet. KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
93.7 The Ticket forecast, sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, AC, and Electrical. A severe thunderstorm watch continues until 4 p.m. this afternoon. Chance of thunderstorms today, otherwise sunshine mixed with clouds at times. High temperatures reach up to 80. Winds out of the northeast, 5 to 10 miles per hour. That's your updated forecast on Lincoln's home for the Kansas City Royals. 93.7 The Ticket. I'm meteorologist Kara Foster. Currently 76.
Hi, Sean Callahan here with Koppel Chevrolet GMC, and new Sierra and Silverado trucks continue to roll in, and August is a great time to upgrade. Right now, get new GMC Sierras for under $50,000, or get 2.9% financing for 72 months plus $1,500 bonus cash. Visit us in Louisville or anytime at koppelcars.com. Stock number G306367 with approved credit.
Is there anything worse than paying for something that's done half-assed? You buy something, you want it to work, especially when it comes to your internet. When you're trying to stream a movie, work from home, or shop online, Half-assed internet doesn't get it done. At Allo Fiber, we don't do anything half-assed. We offer 100% real fiber and real human support that serves the community from the community. So while others may say they have fiber, in the end, there's half-fast fiber, and then there's Allo Fiber. Allo Fiber, internet built for you.
Select Plumbing and Utility has been serving Lincoln and the surrounding area for 14 years, and they're not slowing down. Select Plumbing and Utility handles all your plumbing needs, from faucets and water heaters to full renovations, and they can even help with your heating and cooling needs. They're also Lincoln's underground experts, repairing and replacing broken underground water and sewer lines since day one. Contact Select Plumbing and Utility today at 402-560-6197, assuring excellence in every situation, opportunity, and challenge. That's 402-560-6197.
The Friends with Lincoln Truck and Trailer Repair remind you diabetes is a silent killer affecting many children as well as adults. Any child who has diabetes is insulin dependent. Parents, be aware of warning signs: excessive hunger, thirst, and weight loss to help detect early on the possibility of diabetes. Educate yourself and your child on how to cope with it in everyday life. This message from Lincoln Truck and Trailer Repair. Call Kevin and his team at 402-409-1984.
Empower a child today with the Teammates Mentoring Program by building a relationship based on strengths and chart a brighter future 1 week at a time. Find out how you can be a mentor by visiting LincolnTeammates.org. Become what you needed as a kid by joining the Teammates Mentoring Program today.
Moms already know. It's the one time all summer where everything comes together. The kids are happy. The food is incredible. And somewhere between the birthing pavilion and the drone show, your whole family is together in a way that's hard to find anymore. It all happens here at the Nebraska State Fair, August 28th through September 7th in Grand Island. Visit statefair.org.
The Friends with Jim DeFreeze Auto Parts here in Lincoln would like to take this time out to thank our first responders, doctors, nurses, and the healthcare professionals who put their lives in harm's way for our protection. Blood donation centers need people to donate blood. Be a silent hero and donate blood today. It will help accident victims, surgery patients, sick children, and members of our military. This message is from Jim DeFreeze Auto Parts here in Lincoln. Let's stay united and keep America safe and strong.
Go Hog Wild Pit Barbecue.
It's hard to choose a favorite at Hog Wild, but I'd have to say it's their award-winning ribs. Hog Wild buys their meat from those who share their high-quality standards, then hand rubs each slab with their famous seasoning blend and slow smokes them over hickory each and every day for flavor and tenderness you're gonna keep coming back for. Order online at GoHogWild.com. Hog Wild Pit Barbecue, 3210 Cornhusker Highway in Lincoln.
But don't be late, we close at 8.
The friends out at CJ's Paintball Park and Airsoft would like to take this time out to thank our first responders, doctors, nurses, and the healthcare professionals who put their lives in harm's way for our protection. Blood donation centers need people to donate blood. Be a silent hero and donate blood today. It will help accident victims, surgery patients, sick children, and members of our military. This message is from CJ's Paintball Park and Airsoft. CJ's Paintball Park and Adventures.
Rosie's Sports Bar and Grill. Open for lunch and dinner at 1501 Center Park Road, just south of 14th and Highway 2.
Coming at you live from the heart of downtown Lincoln, this is Old School with Foreman and Orman. Nebraska Football Hall of Famer Jay Foreman.
Here's Coy Detmer dropping straight back in the pocket. Rifles a pass. It was tipped. It's picked off by Foreman. He's at the 15, 10, 5. He'll score! Foreman got it, and it's touchdown Huskers.
Black shirts answer the call one more time.
And Austin Orman. Old School with Foreman and Orman is sponsored by Graham Tire Company of Lincoln, your tire store next door with 4 Lincoln locations. Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Hour 3 of Old School 93.7 The Ticket, ticketfm.com, brought to you as always by Graham Tire Company. He is Husker Hall of Famer, black shirt extraordinaire, all-time linebacker Jay Foreman. I am Austin Orman. You are you. Thanks for dialing up the show. Love hearing from all of you, whether it's on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, or our Sergeant Heeman Jewelers text line. Another hour to go, and Jay, we're going to turn our attention to the NFL. We talked, not just yesterday, just yesterday, about Roger Goodell's comments regarding international expansion in the NFL. I'm essentially saying it's coming. Maybe not sooner than later, but at some point, it's certainly on the commissioner's mind. And you and I were talking about this during a break. We got a text about it as well. The quarterbacks. Who would be the quarterbacks that the NFL or these teams would want to run out there as the leaders, as the flagship players for some of these franchises? And I think first and foremost, what we need to do is lay the groundwork and the blueprint for what not to do, how not to treat a quarterback new to a franchise. And a guy you talk about a lot, deservedly so, Derek Carr, thrust into that position in Houston.
Yeah.
I think DP's mentioned Kerry Collins at times down in Carolina for that expansion franchise as well. What are the easy pitfalls? What are the easy ways to ruin young quarterbacks? And how would, especially being international, how would these new franchises be best served to avoid some of those pitfalls?
Yeah. Well, you better have a good offensive line around them. So you better, that's the first and foremost, and have an offensive system set up for their success. And so that doesn't matter if you're stateside or international. But, I think the expansion league or expansion teams, I think you have to have a different type of quarterback there. You got to have one that has charisma, one that has a unique skill set that fans will continue to come watch. And so I don't think the wins and losses would be at the top of the pecking order, but it'd be towards the top. But as far as the quarterback position, you want to have somebody that has the popularity and the athletic ability and skill set to, bring people out on, whatever they play, which will be Sundays or Mondays.
Let's say we get NFL Europe in 2030. Let's say we got 4 years till the launch, and they launch either 2030 or 2031.
Mm-hmm.
Let's start with some of those charisma, athleticism guys. Who are some of the names that come to mind for you for some NFL Europe quarterbacks?
Well, I mean, they'd be significantly older by the time that rolls around. But I'll just talk about the types. You're talking about athletic ability and excitement would be none other than Lamar Jackson or the Lamar Jackson type. And so when you're thinking about it, and these, so obviously I don't think Lamar Jackson would ever do it. But when you think about it, you're talking about
Trinidad Chambliss.
I was about to say Trinidad Chambliss, a Reed from Texas
Marcel
A&M,
Reed, sure.
Sellers from South Carolina,
Mhm.
because they're all developmental guys, when they would be coming into the NFL like next year, and they still would need development if they don't have a chance to be franchise quarterbacks, moving forward. You're thinking about a Jalen Milroe who, oddly enough, when he was a starting quarterback at Alabama, one of the big complaints about him, he was growing his brand, and I think they were going out to a game. Maybe it was when they lost to Indiana and got the brakes beat off him, I think, that he was doing a TikTok or he had some obligation to do. So that is obviously something that could, go to obviously NFL Europe. Number one, if he's in a wide open spread offense, kind of like a Canadian Football League type of offense over there, he would be electrifying. I imagine by the time he gets there, there's not a lot of wear and tear on him physically. And an arm like a hose for real.
College pedigree,
so it's sellable. And so when you talk about the three that we really mentioned, or four actually, those are at the top of my list. You can even put, to be honest with you, in the right situation, wink, wink, at Diego Pava.
Okay, yeah,
because look, I think he took his 15 minutes of fame. That victory over Alabama, I think it got in his head a little bit, rightfully so, right? But I think, but the way he plays the quarterback position is probably set up better for obviously Canada or an NFL Europe or a UFL. So I think he would be somebody. And also I'll put a Nebraska flavor on it. Even though I think he's going to continue to continue to strive in the NFL and continue to progress in the NFL. Is Adrian Martinez, and because he brings that dual threat, that electrifying. I think he's gotten tremendously better as a passer. Rightfully, obviously, that's obvious, right?
Maturity has been the face of the program before. Has dealt with all the barbs and arrows,
and he's a lot more mature now. He understands the bigger picture, and so he would be somebody that would be phenomenal, like in England or Paris or something like that, where you need to be really tightened up off the field. Good representation, not only of the franchise, but of the nation that he'd be at. In this case, would be England or France. And also he still has a lot of tread on the tires because he hasn't been banged up much.
late career Jalen Hurts.
For Adrian?
Just for one of those franchises.
Oh yeah, and he seemed like he might like that. He might like going over to England. I could see him having, tea in the morning with his thumb up or pinky up and all that. But yeah, I could see Jalen Hurts doing that. I could see, Jalen Hurts would be there. There's a lot of really good young quarterbacks that you could really. Depends on how he matures this first year, like a Carson Beck. I always like the way he plays.
See, Beck is in a different category for me, right? To me, he would be kind of in like the
tier 2.
Well, either like post-type prospect or just like bouncing around or hanging on.
Right. Yeah, that's what. Yeah, but he would be what I mean by tier 2, not your first choice, but it's the second choice that you can roll with for a couple of years.
Yeah.
And then he would go to another one. So like if there's 8 teams, 6 teams have their guy. He's always that 7th and 8th spot that he's going there. He's kind of like the bridge guy. You could even take your boy, Jackson Dart. I don't think his career is going to last that long. He's going to be. I'm telling you, man. He is First of all, his skills are just not what people have made him out to be. They're not. And I don't know why he keeps taking these hits until he gets hit.
Him and Scadaboo, both. They're both just going to run into the wall until the wall finally wins.
Take your frat boy bro with you, right, Scadaboo? Shedeur Sanders, I think, would be number 1 pick, to go over there. Has the charisma, has the smile, has the representation, and obviously in the right situation, but has a skill set too, and he brings all the social media stuff with him. He could really be the king of that league.
Sure. Yeah.
And so it's like if you create that, it'd be like the USFL, or obviously it'd be the European Football League or NFL.
We can get to the UFL quarterbacks right now in just a minute. Dave Brasker throws out Mac Jones, who I think would be in that same kind of tier of like a Tyler Shuck and Aiden O'Connell, Brody Croyle back in the day. But I think Mac is a high-level backup in the NFL. And I'm not sure how many of you can obviously speak to the locker room and the dynamics, but it seems like being a backup quarterback in the NFL is a pretty sweet gig. And I think most guys, sure, they want their chance to start, but I wonder how many guys would rather just be the clipboard holder and get forced into game action with an injury and be a high-level backup, as opposed to spending their career, quote-unquote, banished to Europe, where it might feel like a second-rate league if they add enough teams, whatever it is. Like, would Chase Daniel ever want to go do that? Would Gardner Minshew want to go lead his own team? Would Jacoby Brissett, guys like that, just for the Ryan Fitzpatrick, would they rather go be quarterbacks in NFL Europe? Or would they rather just be the backup, emergency swing starter in the NFL?
Those guys would not trade their career for anybody. Once you got to get. They found a way to be back highly compensated fans. and you know what? I shouldn't have said that. To be a backup quarterback, you're essentially assistant coach because you're there to assist the starters. You got to prepare like a starter, but your job is only to play if something bad happens to him. And that's either on the field or somebody does something bad to him. So, those guys, if I could have a son and say, he said, man, I want to go to the NFL. All right, cool. And if I could guarantee him one thing, and I would say be the backup kicker or backup quarterback for 10 plus years. And you'll be able to do whatever you want the rest of your life. Yeah. And then you'll be on TV.
Right. Or calling plays. Either
calling
one.
Plays.
Yeah.
Or be a head coach. Go right on. And so, no, but I don't think they would. But you wonder, I can see a Minshew doing it because he has that type of personality.
Oh, cult hero, cult following, yeah.
I can see him going over there and if they had a team in Australia, you don't come back.
Right.
Yeah. So I think it takes a certain personality for the guys, and it's got to be financially, worth it for them. But if you were to start the league, those are the type of guys you bring.
Big Hoss says, why would you bring up Sanders? I think Jay went into that a little bit. Other guys that I might consider quote unquote post-hype prospects. What if it doesn't work for Arch Manning and he gets to reset over in Europe? JJ McCarthy hasn't worked for quite yet. Does he get a reset even to a Tagovailoa?
Yeah.
Depending on how the injury situation holds up. Penix, you can throw in that conversation as well.
Every quarterback that's not a top 16 quarterbacks that are starting on week 1, they're all candidates. And rightfully so. It's everybody probably besides Deshaun Watson. Yeah. But look, they're all candidates to go over there, and this is obviously with the understanding that the UFL is kind of morphed into this new league. Those players morphed in over there. So the quality of football would be good if the UFL went over to Europe or Europe kind of combined with the UFL. And that's why, for Big Hoss, that's why we bring, that's why Shedeur Sanders would be an option. And I understand. Look, man, I get it, man. I understand how some people don't like the Sanders family or whatever. But then I really don't. Because if you tell me you don't like Shedeur, but you like Jackson Dart, then I'm going to question why you like Jackson Dart versus Shedeur Sanders.
Yeah.
And you know what I'm getting at. And that's the honest to God truth.
Mm-hmm.
Now, have they always handled things the right way? No, but that's just the young athlete. Look, these kids are coming in making stupid money. The NFL purposely went out of their way to teach him a lesson because he was financially rich and a big personality. They made an example of him. Point blank. You can't tell me Dylan Gabriel is better than him. He never was. You know that, and I know that. Don't tell me some stuff about Brian Dable and some stupid thing they put up on the board. Brian Dable was picking Jackson Dart before Shedeur Sanders went in there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I've been there and I know it. So if there's ever a time that I'm going to pull, I've been in those. I know how those things go. And the narrative is going to be out there, whether the player likes it or not. So I think a lot of it, and I like Meal Ticket. Justin Fields.
Sure. Yeah.
Has to have the right personality for it. But Justin Fields, I always say I felt sorry for David Carr. I feel sorry for Justin Fields, man. I mean, now granted, he broke bread.
Yeah.
I always say he's broken bread. But for him to he hasn't been able to play, he hasn't been able to been in a situation to strive since college. I mean, Chicago essentially drafted him, then already turned the page on him when actually he was playing good. And then ever since then, he's been fighting this thing that wasn't even his fault based on his situation in Chicago.
Right.
You go to Pittsburgh, Russell Wilson's the guaranteed starter. You come in and play a little bit. They kind of really want you to be conservative and just not lose the game. You end up going a 3-game winning streak. You go to the Jets, and they give away all your good players on offense with a new coach. And then now you're in Kansas City.
Yeah.
So Justin Fields, hey, look, man, you got about 6 more years. You'll be like Chase Daniels.
Right?
I mean, that's just where he's at right now.
The other group I want to get to in terms of these quarterbacks I think could be good fits before we get to a lot from our Sartor Heyman Jewelers text line is more of those guys at the end of their career. I think depending on how this year goes, the next couple, 2 years ago, Daniel Jones would have been a slam dunk candidate for that. It still might be.
He'd be in England.
Right. But again, if he's toward the end of his career, Colts find their quarterback of the future, injury pops up, a guy that's going to put on a respectable face, can make some plays here and there. Trevor Lawrence, I think, could be in that as well, potentially. Here's the real wild card for me, Jay. The fan base, I think, would really glom onto. How about Baker Mayfield?
I was going to say that, but Baker's a little bit older, but yeah.
He'd be the Barcelona guy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, and he turned that place upside down. Yeah, they would be crazy. Yeah, Baker Mayfield, he's a guy that I thought, but I was like, oh, by the time that happens, he'll be, on the other thing. He'd be too old. But yeah, if it was this year, if he was this age or this where he's at right now, and then maybe a year or two later, definitely he could do it.
Oh, but I still think even in let's say 4 years, I think there's enough left in the tank that he can still go and invigorate a fan base.
Get that nice sun down there in Spain and stuff like that. He'd be good.
The chip on the shoulder for that team, whatever, that attitude to instill in the team.
Shot.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm there for it.
Those guys that go over there like Baker Mayfield, you got to pay those dudes. Yeah.
Sartor Heyman Jewelers text line. All right, here we go. Bill and Bennett. I wish I knew what someone was talking about when they say that a player has an arm like a hose. Jay, would you care to explain what you mean by that?
He has probably one of the strongest arms. Jalen Milroe, I'm talking about, has one of the strongest arms. He has that Josh Allen type of arm. Now, he doesn't have the accuracy. It's crazy. He's really accurate throwing deep ball. Horrible underneath. Seriously.
It's too close.
He doesn't. I don't think he has he's a fastball pitcher all the time. He has no changeup. That's what I mean is that he has a serious arm strength.
And you think about hose like a garden hose.
Yeah.
You turn the water pressure up fast enough, that stream is just direct on the line.
That's what he has. And he has a strong arm where he's not a body thrower, he's just gifted.
Yeah.
Just not very honed in yet.
IQ crew, we answered this a little bit yesterday, but we've gotten this question a couple times. I'm old enough to remember the NFL Europe experiment. It didn't work then. Why would Goodell think it will work now?
Well, I think the state of the game is different. I think the NFL, look at a piece of pie, right? Back then, NFL didn't have as big a piece of pie. They have pretty much the whole pie, it seems like right now.
Right.
Worldwide.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that it didn't work then, why I think it can work now is the simple fact that it didn't work then. You kind of been there. You can kind of plug the holes a little bit. Europe is probably more welcoming to it. The football is a more global sport now. It was kind of a test over there. And I think it worked more ways than people give it credit for. I think the way it ended was so abrupt that's probably why it deemed it didn't work. I think a lot of great players came out of there. I think guys were able to extend their careers or get their careers started over there. So I think there was a lot of benefit to it, and I think they, saw some things, and I think it's just more ready for it right now. And the NFL can support it if they choose to do so, and are willing to do so. It seems like it'll work because they also always have the ultimate backup plan, which is the NFL backing it. It's kind of like, people say the Caitlin Clark effect or whatever, that NBA is backing the WNBA, so it's going to be more viable than, in years past.
Bo Lever says, why wouldn't you just add a CFL team or two?
Well, what's crazy? I'll age myself. I remember when the CFL had a team in Baltimore when Baltimore left.
Hello.
And they had a few, and they had a text line. If you guys are old enough to remember, text in, how many teams did the CFL have when they expanded to the United States of America? That would be great if they had a partnership between the CFL and the NFL. I always tell the story about the Buffalo Bills, and Bill Bradley was the defensive back coach. And Bill Bradley was a really good player, or not really good player. He was a great player at the University of Texas, and he would tell you about being at the University of Texas. So we'd get after it all the time because he knows I hate Texas, and I hate Texas as much or more than Notre Dame, right? But he was a great player, a great coach, and a great dude as well. And what Buffalo used to do, because back then, you had 4 preseason games, and Buffalo and Pittsburgh and maybe Philly were one of the few teams around the league where they weren't doing the taxi squad thing, bringing a whole bunch of guys in training camp, cutting guys and all that, kind of like the Patriots always did, where John Butler was like, look, if you're a rookie, you're going to get picked up or get a chance to really make it in this league. If it's not with us, it's with somebody else, because you are going to play you're going to get a lot of film in the preseason. But one of the things that Buffalo used to do is if there's a guy that, they couldn't keep on practice squad but had plans for him, and maybe it wasn't this year, it didn't work out or whatever. I remember it was 3 different guys in or around my draft class. That means my draft class or year after. They would kind of, I don't know if they helped them, but they would go kind of, somehow they always ended up going to Canada, right? Playing a year, getting a ton of tape. Obviously, you're going against a passing, in a passing league. And then all of them came back and made the team the next year.
Wow.
And played a couple more years. One of them is, I was talking about my man, Rayon Hill, a.k.a. Jamie Foxx's stunt double. That's him.
Yep.
Rayon. Dookie Ray. We didn't call him Dookie Ray because he was in there. Ray was one of them. Ahmad. He was a safety from Oregon State. He went up there. Ahmad Hatcher. He did it. And I think Keon Carpenter, rest in peace, one of my best friends that unfortunately passed away. He did the same thing as well.
I'm not going to double check Raf's work. He says there were 7 teams. Also, Kenny played down in San Antonio, and Chad and Kyle Texas also remembers a CFL team down in San Antonio.
Yeah, and that was only, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Raf, I think it was like a year or two, and it was on TV because I was like, because you remember when Baltimore left, like in the middle of the night, they were just football hungry. Probably had that same stadium. So it was actually pretty cool. And you'd see, and it gave more opportunities for American players because they had a very limited amount of American players playing in the CFL. So it could happen. Also for the NFL Europe over there, there is NFL like academies over there. Actually, they have NFL Academy England and Africa because the kid or that guy that tested out crazy played for Philly.
Yeah,
he's like 6'6", 300 pounds and ran like a 4.7 and all this other stuff. He's like obviously a project, but he came through like that NFL Europe Academy. So you could get some, local players over there as well. Kind of like reverse CFL.
A couple things really quick before the end of the segment. Drumstick says Nick Foles and Andy Dalton both said Justin Fields struggles in the locker rooms with building quality relationships. Would you really want him as the face of the franchise?
Nick Foles and who?
Andy Dalton.
Well, how would they know?
Know people who know people,
Yeah.
secondhand.
I mean, that's also part of it too. Maybe that's. I mean, obviously, I just go on his support.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's part of it. I mean, there's what's crazy is they said the same thing about Carson Wentz.
They did.
He's still in the league.
He is.
Yeah, with the Vikings.
The Vikings. Yeah. Got there last year. And then Starkey and Bennett. Deion Sanders or Bo Jackson?
For Bo Jackson is what known as the greatest athlete. Arguably, you could say Deion, but yeah.
Deion had the better careers, though.
Yeah,
I mean, the injuries,
Bo was cut short, and Bo then took off in baseball as well.
Right, but you have to give Deion credit for staying healthy enough.
Deion had the better football, definitely better career.
Yeah,
but Bo Jackson's still that dude.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, when you see that man snap that baseball bat over his head,
Mm-hmm.
That's some strength. Yeah, and he ran like a 4.1 something at like 200 some pounds. 230 some pounds.
Yeah,
he was the real deal.
Certified.
It's always like the biggest what if.
Yeah.
You know what a good question is coming out of break?
What's a good question coming out of break?
Gale Sayers made the Hall of Fame and had his career cut short by injuries.
Mm-hmm.
Do people think Bo Jackson should be in the Hall of Fame?
Ooh. Bo Jackson, NFL Hall of Famer, yes or no? Let us know. 402-464-5685. Dive into that next.
You're listening to Old School with Jay Foreman and Austin Orman. Download the mobile app and listen wherever you are on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Go Hog Wild Pit Barbecue.
It's hard to choose a favorite at Hog Wild, but I'd have to say it's their award-winning ribs. Hog Wild buys their meat from those who share their high-quality standards, then hand rubs each slab with their famous seasoning blend and slow smokes them over hickory each and every day for flavor and tenderness you're gonna keep coming back for. Order online at GoHogWild.com. Hog Wild Pit Barbecue, 3210 Cornhusker Highway in Lincoln.
But don't be late, we close at 8.
When your business is ready for its next move, I'm here to help make it happen. I'm Corey Vandeweghe, Commercial Loan Officer at Midwest Bank on 70th and Pioneers Boulevard. Lincoln is full of bold ideas and hardworking business owners, and I'm proud to support the people driving that progress. Whether you're launching something new or investing in growth, I'll work with you to find lending solutions that move your business forward. Swing in anytime. I'd love to hear what you're building. Your community, your bank, Midwest Bank, member FDIC.
Building a new home can be a challenge, a lot of big choices. With our Remington homes, we have designed 15 different floor plans that appeal to a wide range of people.
Bob Benish of Aspen Builders, talking about Remington Homes, which makes the home building process easier.
People really enjoy being able to go to our website, which is remingtonlincoln.com, pick a plan, pick a price point, go through and build it yourself. You have a lot of options, whether you want granite, painted trim, wood floors, more stone, all options with our Remington homes. People do not want to be married to their house payment. You're able to get what you really want in a home for a great price with very limited stress. And that's what Remington homes are all about.
Home building is easier with a Remington home from Aspen Builders at 423-6811. Online at remingtonlincoln.com. remingtonlincoln.com.
Hey Husker fans, Coach Amy Williams here, thanking you so much for your support of Nebraska women's basketball. Season tickets go on sale August 17th, and we want you at PBA with us as we take the next step forward as a program. Our Huskers are hunting a school record-tying 4th straight NCAA tournament bid, and we want you there with us every step of the way. Get your season tickets at Huskers.com, and let's win the day at PBA. Go Big Red.
At Raising Cane's, we hand batter every chicken finger, mix every cane sauce, butter every Texas toast, stir every slaw, and salt every fry. Because when you do it right, you can taste it in every bite. Raising Cane's chicken fingers. One love.
Bauer Underground has been serving local contractors and utility contractors all across the state since 1997. When you see the black and white trucks, you know that the best workers in the business have arrived. Bauer is currently looking for equipment operators, laborers, diesel mechanics, and aerial linemen. Join the brotherhood built upon hard work, authentic people, and a pedigree of success. They're offering top-notch benefits, matching 401k, and a $600 per year clothing allowance. Bauer Underground, a family-friendly company with room for advancement.
When something breaks, you want someone you can trust to fix it right. Empire Repair is now open in Waverly and ready to serve our community with reliable auto repair and maintenance. From routine service to bigger repairs, our team is here to keep you on the road. Stop by Empire Repair in Waverly or call 402-786-2224 to schedule your service today. Empire Repair, proud to serve Waverly.
Rosie's Sports Bar and Grill, open for lunch and dinner at 1501 Center Park Road, just south of 14th and Highway 2.
The Friends with Lincoln Truck and Trailer Repair remind you, diabetes is a silent killer affecting many children as well as adults. Any child who has diabetes is insulin dependent. Parents, be aware of warning signs, excessive hunger, thirst, and weight loss to help detect early on the possibility of diabetes. Educate yourself and your child on how to cope with it in everyday life. This message from Lincoln Truck and Trailer Repair. Call Kevin and his team at 402-409-1984.
Ever look at your house and think, ouch, it's stuck in the past? Or realize that your kitchen needs a new everything? Like thousands of homeowners, you can simply call SprayNet Lincoln. Their patented spray system and paint delivers a flawless factory finish, no mess, done in a day, and cost-effective. It looks just like new, including your vinyl. And it's all backed by their 15-year no-peel warranty. SprayNet Lincoln, custom chemistry and smarter painting. Google SprayNet Lincoln or call them now at 402-383-3336 or email ching@spray-net.com.
Your line just went down. Production stopped. A supervisor wants answers, and someone's digging through a binder for the maintenance history. Every one of those minutes costs money, and most of the time, that breakdown could have been prevented. That's where MaintainX comes in. MaintainX catches the failure before it happens. Preventive maintenance plans on every key asset to improve reliability. Work orders assigned and tracked right from your phone. Everyone from the floor to the front office is in the loop. Real-time dashboards give managers instant visibility into what's been completed, what's overdue, and where the bottlenecks are. No more guesswork. Just a smarter, faster maintenance operation. Companies on MaintainX have cut unplanned downtime by over 30% and save thousands on parts and labor every year. See what it can do for your operation. Try MaintainX free at maintainx.com.
Back to Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back in. Half an hour or so to go on Old School. Austin Orman here, Jay Foreman there. The question that Jay posed, Bo Jackson, should he be in the NFL Hall of Fame? Jay, let's get your answer first, and then we'll hear what the Sartor Heyman Jewelers text line has to say. Bo Jackson, does he merit inclusion into the Pro Football Hall of Fame?
Well, it depends on what standards you have. You know, it's like,
not before 44, of course, but
no, not even close. I mean, it would be hell to high water if, that happened. I would say, it's crazy because if you listen to Chris Carter or guys, they will say, hey, listen, it has to be to where you can't speak about whatever time frame they played and not mention their name. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So Bo Jackson's name would be mentioned.
Yes.
Probably not as prominent as so it's kind of questionable. I would probably say no. Just because he didn't play long enough and really didn't have the stats. But I just wondered because by that metrics, there's a lot of guys that have gotten in that probably shouldn't, and there's guys that should have gotten in that haven't. gotten in. So, or do you go straight by stats? Well, if that's the case, then you're going to have everybody from this area in there. So it's kind of goes back and forth. It just popped in my brain because I know, and let me say this, Gale Sayers was way more productive than Bo Jackson. But at that time, when Gale Sayers went in, it was a big thing on longevity.
Yeah.
But he didn't have the longevity, but he had the production.
7 seasons for Gale
Right.
Sayers.
So that's the only reason I just thought about it, just because we're talking about Bo Jackson and a whole different thing, and then we're, obviously doing something different.
Right. So Sayers for his career, 65 to 71, 68 games played, 65 starts for just shy of 1,000 carries, for just shy of 5,000 yards, 39 touchdowns, and a long of 70 for him in his career. Obviously widely regarded as one of the best, most talented backs in the NFL at that time and of all time. Bo Jackson ends up playing 38 games in the NFL, 23 starts. The only thing he ever led the league in was actually all 3 of his 4 years. He actually had the longest touchdown run by a running back in the league. 91-yarder in 87, which was his rookie year, 92 and 88, and then the 89 and 90 seasons. Second in Offensive Rookie of the Year voting in 87, was a Pro Bowler in 1990 before the hip injury and everything with the Raiders. I didn't realize this, Jay. For as big and strong as Bo Jackson was, fumbled 11 times in those 4 seasons, or essentially 4 seasons in just 38 games. Not a great track record. You can compare even some other guys. Gale Sayers comes to mind. You look at what Barry Sanders might be the other one in a similar-ish time frame that came to mind of the tail end of Bo Jackson's career, kind of the next big thing. Barry Sanders, when he entered the league at age 21 in 1989, Offensive Rookie of the Year, Pro Bowler, AP first team, or All-Pro first team his first 3 years, took a backseat, was second-team All-Pro the next 2, and still had 3 more first-team All-Pro appearances in his last 5 years as well. So that's still a 10-year career for Barry Sanders, far eclipsing that. You think about Calvin Johnson at the wide receiver position. That's another guy that played 9 years, undisputed best guy, or among the best guys at his position, 3 times in a row. First team All-Pro with a second team All-Pro the year before that. Then you go to even Sandy Koufax, right, for baseball. I know it's cross sport and whatnot. A guy that still ended up pitching for 12 seasons before his career got cut short with the arm injury that most people assume would have required Tommy John surgery. And of course, Tommy John's in the news, having just passed away over the weekend. And so, it's hard to tell maybe the story of that era without Bo Jackson, just because of the cult figure that he was, the mythology of Bo Jackson. There's a really good biography of Bo Jackson I got my dad for his birthday or Christmas last year. Heck of a read, and certainly a guy that's always going to come up in conversation, but more so because of the flashes. It's kind of like the battery and the flashlight was going out. It would click on for a time, it would kind of waver, and then the beam would be on really bright, and then out of nowhere, it just snaps off.
And, look, he had the Nike commercials, and they had his own shoe. Heck, I think Deion Sanders, and they wear them now, right? Or like some of the shoes. Remember they do the shoe reveal or whatever. So, I mean, I think just he was just dynamite, you know what I mean? And an iconic figure, and he's a cult figure. And you just wonder with some of these guys that, eventually will get in, with him being that type, would he eventually get in? I mean, obviously he probably, wishes he was able to complete his journey in football, and obviously was able to do some great things in baseball, but it just sucks that it was just one kind of freak injury that kind of derailed him. And the timing of the injury, meaning the medicine and the ability to come back from that type of injury, it's never easy, but I think it happens more often now because of the way that, obviously rehab and medicine has changed.
Starter Heyman Jewelers text line. We'll run through your thoughts. Bo averaged 5.4 yards per carry for his career. Cubsker says, I thought Bo was already in. No, he is not. He's in the College Football Hall of Fame, not the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Also in the Kansas City Royals Hall of Fame. I was actually there a couple of years ago as Bo got inducted. Big B says, no, Bo Jackson should not be in the NFL Hall of Fame. Only playing 4 seasons, only 2,700 yards of offense. Drumstick says, Bo Jackson is the Chuck Norris of NFL history. He doesn't need the Hall of Fame. He's already a legend. Mr. Worldwide throws out, what about Tecmo Bowl, Bo Jackson?
Tecmo Bowl Bo Jackson is in the Hall of Fame.
Maybe the best athlete ever, regardless of sport in Techno Bowl.
He was unstoppable. Techno Bowl, Bo Jackson. That's an awesome point right there. I mean, he was. Do you remember that? Bo Jackson.
Well, I didn't grow up on Tecmo Bowl. I've heard the stories.
Man. And then just think of that backfield they had with him and Marcus Allen
in the same backfield.
Yeah. And they brought in Bo Jackson because Al Davis hated Marcus Allen for some reason. Yeah. A Hall of Fame dude.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to bring in this dude. And Marcus Allen still, outperformed everything. They brought in Eric Dickerson too. They were bringing in everybody. That's how. But then didn't want to get rid of him.
Right
there, you go.
Who is this? We got this from BK All Day. I'd say no because I saw a stat come out last year where Jim Harbaugh has more career rushing yards than Bo Jackson, which is true by like 5 yards.
Captain Comeback,
Captain Khakis,
Captain Comeback for your Indianapolis Colts.
He's Captain Khakis, even though he did play for the Colts. Yeah. Cigar Guy, Bo won't have the numbers because his career was cut short, but it's Bo freaking Jackson. Yes, he belongs in the Hall of Fame. Bill and Bennett says he should get into me just for running the Boz over at the goal line.
Yeah, I always tell people about that. There's not a linebacker that's walked the face of the earth that would have made that tackle. Not one. Now we talked about Dion. It's the Boz. Boz was the same way. Now straight up, that's what he was, and that's really Colorado football and Boz the same thing. Came in, people loved him, right when he first did it. When he was in college. Then Oklahoma and him became the bad boys, and then he had his hair, kind of put the lines in his hair and colored it, and he got busted for steroids. And then he came in, he had the T-shirt company and all that, got drafted, had the first guaranteed contract that ruined it for everybody else, supposedly. Not true. But
why is that not true?
Because the owners, they just said, you know what, we ain't doing this. We want to get all the money. Sure, he's the excuse. Come on now. How many guys okay, if would Zach Thomas make you, or that should make you want to give guys guaranteed contracts? Yeah. Because they actually outperform where you drafted them and outperformed a lot of times the contract. So
then you get cost certainty. You don't have to worry about extension, et cetera.
And your league makes the most money. And you have the worst insurance and probably the worst benefits holistically.
For the sport that's worst on anyone's body.
Right. So that's why. But anyways, he came in, and then anything that he did in the league with a lot of hype, he just, would he have been, he was pretty productive for a couple of years, and he just ran into bad shoulders and all that type of stuff.
Mm-hmm. Kicked off by Bo Jackson at the goal line.
But man, I think I watched that live.
Did you do oh?
There's just not a linebacker alive that would have made that play.
Did you think that in real time?
No, I was like, dang. You could have chopped him down, but Bo Jackson was so powerful, dude. He would have ran you over.
Mm-hmm.
It's just you remember when Jerome Bettis ran over Brian Urlacher?
Oh yeah,
yeah. It sounded like one of those. But that was just Bo Jackson is going straight at whatever rate of speed. Remember the sports science guy that unfortunately passed away? Me and actually Jake Sorensen met him at the Super Bowl. And he's going, how they do the sports science back in the day.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So he's going this way, and you're coming from the side. It's not going to happen.
No,
it's a locomotive against a Volkswagen. It's not happening. And trust me, I play linebackers.
But the low man wins, Jay. The Volkswagen get lower.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Listen. Eddie George got me once.
Operative word being once.
And there was nothing I could do except the inevitable. And
hold on for dear life.
All those things go through your mind in literally like a half a second.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, crap. What do I do? Damn it, Gary. And it wasn't
mostly that one.
And it wasn't damn it. And it wasn't damn it. It was everything that I could think of. Blankety blank, Gary Dang Walker, my boy. You did it again. Then that went through my mind. The stupid turf field that was all beat up, and it was like a late, like November-ish game. You know what I mean? Late in the season game. I slipped. I got Benji Olsen just trying to finish me off, and I'm trying to throw him off. I'm just trying to do it. And then I'm thinking, I'm trying to do this. This is all going through my mind. And then I was like, oh, I remember this technique that John Hollisek taught me to get off a block, and then Here's Eddie George coming full speed. How do I get him down? It was like a tire track, and then I reached back. You know, like what we talked about Anakin Skywalker? Remember when he reached his hand up there? That was me. I got Eddie George I got him by it is the craziest thing ever.
Got him by the belt loop?
I reached my hand back, and it's like shin or ankle right there, and I just grabbed it and got him.
Clench.
But by the time
That's hand strength. Those are heavy hands there.
But by the time I got up, though, they had played that bad boy twice. Oh, the crowd's going crazy. And they showed the other angle. So they showed the one from him behind and then me behind. And there's 56 taking just, oh, my God. And Gary Walker, every time I see him when we're at Lubbock, he's like, man, what's up? I'm still mad at him.
Dang it, Gary.
Yeah, because I just talked to him a few weeks ago. He's like, you my boy. He's like, man, he's got a big pig farm and stuff. He's like, man, if you're ever going to come down here and, do some wild boar hunting, he's like, I got those too. He's like, man, you can stay. He's like, I got a guest house you can stay in. I'm like, I'm still mad at you, man, because I'm sitting there talking to him. I was like, man, Gary, I love you to death, but I'm still mad at you, man.
One of those pigs that's bearing down on you. Gary's gonna be nowhere to be found.
Well, Gary he cost me a sack against Peyton Manning, another sack, because I sacked him I had my most sacks against him and Brady. He cost me a legitimate easy sack against Peyton Manning. Cost me another sack in the same blitz, the same situation against Kerry Collins. That's 2. So it's 3, actually.
Mm-hmm.
And 4, I think if I had to go back, the Dallas Clark situation was definitely on Gary. It was either Gary or Kylie Wong. It's be the ones that are closest to you that get you the worst. And it's Gary.
Be your own people sometimes.
Damn Walker. My locker mate. My road dog.
With friends like Gary, who needs enemies?
Hey, he's right there next to you.
It's okay. Get him next time.
Right. My bad. No, he was like, my bad.
That's even worse.
Yeah. You know you missed that blitz, man. You know it. And you got me out here running down here 80 yards against this dude. Yeah. But I was with him. I was running with Dallas Clark. It wasn't like a speed thing. I saw Marcus Coleman come in to take the interception because we didn't cover 2. So I kind of throttled off, thinking he's going to give me, a pick. He go up there to try to get the pick. His eyes closed. Dallas Clark catches, holler at a player. We look like the bad news bears.
And then you have people like Eric on the text line saying, no excuses, Jay.
And you know what the worst part is? They only showed me and Marcus.
Of course they did.
It all starts with Gary.
Every time. The instigator.
The suspect. Gary Walker is the suspect sports person of the decade.
Of the lifetime?
Lifetime. He got the
Lifetime Achievement Award. We'll wrap up the show after this.
Watch Old School live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Looking for something different for lunch or dinner in Lincoln? Big 8 is now open at 1226 P Street, serving seafood boils and Asian cuisine. Get your hands messy with fresh, flavorful seafood boils. Hot, cold, and made to share. Or enjoy classic Chinese and Asian dishes, perfect for lunch, dinner, or a night out with friends and family. Big flavors, generous portions, a brand new dining experience. Big 8, now open in Lincoln.
At Raising Cane's, we hand batter every chicken finger, mix every cane sauce, butter every Texas toast, stir every slaw, and salt every fry. Because when you do it right, you can taste it in every bite. Raising Cane's chicken fingers, one love.
Your line just went down. Production stopped. A supervisor wants answers, and someone's digging through a binder for the maintenance history. Every one of those minutes costs money, and most of the time, that breakdown could have been prevented. That's where Maintain X comes in. Maintain X catches the failure before it happens. Preventive maintenance plans on every key asset to improve reliability. Work orders assigned and tracked right from your phone. Everyone from the floor to the front office is in the loop. Real-time dashboards give managers instant visibility into what's been completed, what's overdue, and where the bottlenecks are. No more guesswork. Just a smarter, faster maintenance operation. Companies on Maintain X have cut unplanned downtime by over 30% and saved thousands on parts and labor every year. See what it can do for your operation. Try Maintain X free at maintainx.com.
Bauer Underground has been serving local contractors and utility contractors all across the state since 1997. When you see the black and white trucks, you know that the best workers in the business have arrived. Bauer is currently looking for equipment operators, laborers, diesel mechanics, and aerial linemen. Join the brotherhood built upon hard work, authentic people, and a pedigree of success. They're offering top-notch benefits, matching 401k, and a $600 per year clothing allowance. Bauer Underground, a family-friendly company with room for advancement.
Hey Husker fans, Coach Amy Williams here, thanking you so much for your support of Nebraska women's basketball. Season tickets go on sale August 17th, and we want you at PBA with us as we take the next step forward as a program. Our Huskers are hunting a school record-tying 4th straight NCAA tournament bid, and we want you there with us every step of the way. Get your season tickets at Huskers.com, and let's win the day at PBA. Go Big Red.
Ever look at your house and think, ouch, it's stuck in the past? Or realize that your kitchen needs a new everything? Like thousands of homeowners, you can simply call SprayNet Lincoln. Their patented spray system and paint delivers a flawless factory finish. No mess, done in a day, and cost effective. It looks just like new, including your vinyl. And it's all backed by their 15-year no-peel warranty. SprayNet Lincoln, custom chemistry and smarter painting. Google SprayNet Lincoln or call them now at 402-383-3336 or email ching@spray-net.com.
When something breaks, you want someone you can trust to fix it right. Empire Repair is now open in Waverly and ready to serve our community with reliable auto repair and maintenance. From routine service to bigger repairs, our team is here to keep you on the road. Stop by Empire Repair in Waverly or call 402-786-2224 to schedule your service today. Empire Repair, proud to serve Waverly.
If you like freedom and you like floors, ditch the box stores and shop Freedom Floor and find the best luxury vinyl, tile, hardwood, laminate, carpet, and experts at Freedom Flooring. Visit our showroom at 4815 South 14th Street in Lincoln. If you like freedom and you like floors, ditch the box stores and shop Freedom Flooring, a Shaw Floors dealer.
Salt Mine City is your go-to brewery in the Haymarket for craft beers and great food. Enjoy a full menu of great items daily for lunch and dinner, like their Big Fatty 7-ounce hamburger or a Reuben sandwich served on Blackstone rye bread. And don't forget their beef or chicken nachos with guacamole, sour cream, jalapenos, and more. Wash it down with one of their 12 beers on tap, including the popular Single Axle Light American Lager. Salt Mine City, now open 2 p.m. Monday through Thursday and 11 a.m. Friday through Sunday at 8th and R.
The Friends with Lincoln Truck and Trailer Repair remind you, diabetes is a silent killer affecting many children as well as adults. Any child who has diabetes is insulin dependent. Parents, be aware of warning signs, excessive hunger, thirst, and weight loss to help detect early on the possibility of diabetes. Educate yourself and your child on how to cope with it in everyday life. This message from Lincoln Truck and Trailer Repair. Call Kevin and his team at 402-409-1984.
Hi, Sean Callahan here with Koppel Chevrolet GMC, and new Sierra and Silverado trucks continue to roll in, and August is a great time to upgrade. Right now, get new GMC Sierras for under $50,000. Or get 2.9% financing for 72 months plus $1,500 bonus cash. Visit us in Louisville or anytime at koppelcars.com. Stock number G306367 with approved credit.
Rosie's Sports Bar and Grill. Open for lunch and dinner at 1501 Center Park Road, just south of 14th and Highway 2.
Back to Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back in one final time to Old School. He's Jay Foreman. I'm Austin Norman. Text line loves the stories. Mailman says, you got me rolling, Jay. I remember that. Eric is popping off at the mouth as he's wont to do. We'll get into your lunchtime lineup here, brought to you by the good folks at Buffalo Wings and Rings with their 2 Lincoln locations. Always appreciate the folks at 68th and 0 getting us hooked up. March Madness, Super Bowl, Customer Appreciation Day, and everything in between. Jay, your lunchtime lineup is AJ Store's lineup of schools he's attended.
Man.
AJ Store, going back to 2018-19. Here's the list. Kankakee High School, in Wisconsin, transfers to Kankakee. I don't know. Weird pronunciations up there. From there to Bishop Gorman, to Arizona Compass, to his senior year of high school at IMG Academy. AJ Storr commits to St. John's, is there for 1 year, has a good year at Wisconsin, parlays that into an upgrade to Kansas, where he kind of falls off the radar, has a decent year at Ole Miss last year, and now with his 5th year of eligibility, he's a running rebel out at UNLV.
I did see
that. That is 9 schools in 9 years for AJ Storr.
Hey, man, he's out there. He's just trying to see the world.
I suppose.
He's trying to see the world. Now, do you think it's a personality thing? I mean, high school is, can you fault him for going to those prep schools?
I mean, it's worth a shot.
Yeah.
But why not stick at one for a couple of years?
But those prep schools recruit over each other. I mean, they pay.
Fair enough.
So I can't really fault them for that with the high schools. The colleges.
But that's all across the country, from Vegas to Arizona to Florida, all starting in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
That's all over the place.
They pay.
Couldn't have gotten to like Lumiere in Indiana or something. I don't know.
They weren't
Sunrise
paying
in
enough.
Kansas, I guess.
They know they attack or look for kids that'll move. They'll pay.
AJ Storr kind of looks like Anthony Edwards too.
He does.
A similar game, but Anthony's obviously
at
a lot
some
better.
point in time, everybody thought he was going to be on that trajectory, and I think it's a little slowed down because he was I think St. John's is where he really obviously took off. He did decent at Wisconsin, and then when he went to Kansas, it just kind of it's like you went there and you just never heard from him.
Yeah.
It was almost like was he there? He was, but it never. It was when the Kansas really tried to get a portal class, and that kind of stymied them from their domination in the Big 12. But good for him. If they're paying, he's playing. I'll tell you this, AJ. Listen, if they're dumb enough to keep paying you, be smart enough to keep taking it.
Fair enough.
And then guess what? You'll be right on the same. You'll be right in time for that pro career of yours. You'll be doing your thing, same thing as well.
Elsewhere in your lunchtime lineup, saw this one. We're scrolling through the front office sports thing for Colorado. Kim Kardashian putting together a reality show about moms whose sons attend an elite baseball prep school in Arizona.
That'd be pretty cool.
Team moms. Not teen mom, team moms.
Team?
Team with an
team.
M, thankfully. We've had
There-
teen before, it says team.
There's another reality show I just saw that's coming out with sports too. I forget. I'll remember it by tomorrow.
Seahawks Hard Knocks is pretty good.
It is.
Been
And
fun.
McDonald's actually pretty good. He talked about
Oh, yeah.
how he coaching mistakes and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Yeah. Big shout out to HBO. They're back now. Good team.
Like they never left.
Yep.
Big thanks to Graham Tire and the great team over there celebrating 75 years of serving the Midwest. More than just tires, they do all kinds of car and light truck repairs too. From brakes to oil changes, trust Graham Tire for service you can count on. It's Graham Tire getting you to the places that matter most. Stay tuned. Full lineup coming up next, 93.7 Ticket, ticketfm.com. We'll be back with you 9 o'clock tomorrow. Talk to you then.
If you like freedom and you like floors, ditch the box stores and shop Freedom Floor and find the best luxury vinyl, tile, hardwood, laminate, carpet, and experts at Freedom Flooring. Visit our showroom at 4815 South 14th Street in Lincoln. If you like freedom and you like floors, ditch the box stores and shop Freedom Flooring, a Shaw Floors dealer.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
If the power is out, traffic lights may be too. If you come across a dark intersection, treat it like a four-way stop. Find more outage safety tips at les.com/safety.
Good work, good people, good community. That's what Schweitzer Construction is built on. For over 40 years, we've been constructing commercial spaces across Lincoln and showing up for the community long after the last brick is laid. We're growing our team, and we're looking for hardworking people who want to be part of something that they're proud of. Come build with us at schwizo.com. That's SCHWISOW.com.
Salt Mine City is your go-to brewery in the Haymarket for craft beers and great food. Enjoy a full menu of great items daily for lunch and dinner, like their Big Fatty 7-ounce hamburger or a Reuben sandwich served on Blackstone rye bread. And don't forget their beef or chicken nachos with guacamole, sour cream, jalapenos, and more. Wash it down with one of their 12 beers on tap, including the popular Single Axle Light American Lager. Salt Mine City, now open 2 p.m. Monday through Thursday and 11 a.m. Friday through Sunday at 8th and R.
The pre-harvest clearance sale is happening now at Landmark Implement. We've got more than just harvest